Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
Yeah, so I really thought this BS with the passport bros was just gonna go away, just die down, but I was wrong. Every time I get on social media, it's one of them goofy ass passport bros getting caught up in a situation. Exhibit A.
And guys, they took everything.
Now look at his ass. He up here crying and talking about she took everything. What did you expect to happen? I guess you thought you was going to go over there and have you a great time. They was just going to lay down with you.
I love black women. I love decent, hardworking, God-fearing black women who support their families.
Yes, sir.
I don't like degenerate, lying, false testify-giving women who put their man on child support, even though he's been paying for you, and then turn around and lie to the court and say you're a deadbeat daddy, and who alienate their children from their father. I don't like those type of women, and I will call them to the mat each and every time for their lies and their disparaging statements about black men, largely because that's what a father does. See, my sons turn 18, they will inherit the mantle of black men, right, and all the negativity and the tropes that go with it. And it's not fair for my children, for my babies, to inherit that trope because they didn't do anything. They're innocent, as I said earlier.
This BS with the passport bros was just gonna go away, just die down, but I was wrong. Every time I get on social media, it's one of them goofy ass passport bros getting caught up in a situation. Exhibit A.
And guys, they took everything.
Now look at his ass. He up here crying and talking about she took everything. What did you expect to happen? I guess you thought you was gonna go over there and have you a great time. They was just gonna lay down with you.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're looking for a man, just know that the reason you can't find him, a black man specifically, is because he's in Colombia already. He's in Colombia already, y'all. So this is the first time I've come to Colombia, like post-pandemic. So like seeing it in its like true form of like what the numbers are looking like. And when I tell you that my whole life was full of it was full of black men traveling with other black men. They come into Colombia, baby. That's why you can't find them. They're all here.
I know that reasoning, not respect to minorities. What the fuck? Stop! I want to get another air right now. You punching air, probably swinging around eating some bananas. Fucking stupid bitch. Preach is crying right now, swinging from a monkey branch.
And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel.
I want you to listen to what this Negro has to say.
Of a white guy who married a black woman with black children. And in this video, the white guy was clowning black men and saying, you think I can't raise black boys? I raise them better than y'all do.
This is type of woke shit that I'm talking about right here that makes white men like Nick Fuentes get on the internet and be comfortable saying nigga. This is why motherfuckers like this are dangerous. And we've let these Negroes go on too long saying whatever they want to say. All this anti-black male rhetoric is what it is. This is why motherfuckers like this are dangerous. And we've let these Negroes go on too long saying whatever they want to say. All this anti-black male rhetoric is what it is.
We got too many PhDs screaming they woke. Sleep on the land and take us off for a joke. The blacks I see, immigrants, tap dancing, nigga shit. Homie, he ain't black like me. Ancestors fought and died with no guns. You hear disrespect and speak with a forked tongue. We march for togetherness. All we really seeing is a bunch of sellout motherfuckers round here don't tell the shit. Separate better shit. We don't fuck with it, trick them celibate. Tell it to the donkey and the elephant. Here for the benefit. Damn right, talking to you immigrants. Over here acting like you innocent. In your homeland, you don't fuck with blacks. But getting handouts and money off our tax. And we ain't getting shit but some feel-good talk. And young black men outlined in white chalk. Time to spark change, the kind folks see. Produced by Baz, inspired by Uncle D. Give black men a voice. The only Umars on Friday. And trust me, our doctor ain't voice. My people rejoice. My lyrics ain't shooting and killing the black man. Make a motherfucking choice. What niggas do for money, clown and act a fool. Wearing dresses, finessing money just for a school. Tell it to these coons on a plantation, made it a celebration. Everybody to Zoom, blizzard in the room. So bundle up, trick. It's cold outside and he ain't taking no shit. This is why they hate us. Blood run deep, a generation of traitors. They wanna see us weak, you ain't a part of the family. Cold shoulder, fuck you, black men ain't shit. I'm sure the world will love you. Head down long enough, 50 plus years, you yelling that we ain't strong enough. Took them benefits and ran with it, it's Mayday. Took the kids away and now they Pookie and Ray Ray. This is where we separate.
Word, feel me? We gotta keep our black women safe. Why you got spray paint on what's the name?
Like, you keep this shit moving, bro. We don't play like that, bro.
Okay,
bro. I don't give
a fuck, bro. We don't play like that.
About, my nigga? Like, look at your van, my nigga. This is some weird shit. Don't come parking around this shit, my nigga.
Word, nah, some other shit.
What's the name of the block? I don't know. Bro, get the fuck out of here, my nigga. Real shit, bro. And keep it going fast, bro.
Yo, that's some crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Get it understood, cause real black men wish a motherfucker would. So buck if you want to. On the next flight, we do whatever we want to. Blizzard King coming, everybody favorite uncle.
You got niggas with degrees enabling these motherfuckers by perpetuating these lies and negativity about black men. Most of you black men don't have kids. You ain't even got no wife. 31% of y'all are married, 51% of you don't have kids, and you're not married. That's 82% of black men who ain't did shit or are doing it the right way. It's 18% of men out there with children outside of wedlock. And of that group, they are better fathers than men of other races who are married to their women. Right. You black men are outstanding. You hear me? You are winning. Fuck what these PhD ass niggas are saying. You are winning. You are doing a great fucking job, especially considering what you had to do and deal with historically. Especially that. Nobody's saying that. These lying motherfuckers, man.
Dennis Sperling. This person has been negatively targeting black women negatively on social media. And it seems as though ever since Kevin Samuels died, he's been trying to, I don't know if he wants to be the next Kevin Samuels, if he wants to be the next person who's famous for disparaging black women and for making someone try to feel a certain way, particularly black women.
First they had Weight Watchers, now you got Hate Watchers. Let's get it. This is for my lovely young ladies like a hate. Blizzard King, Dennis Sperling. First, let's get the record straight. I say it online, I can say it to your face. Not a bully, I'm just mean, know what I mean, no debate. It's time to put some motherfucking knowledge on your plate. Excuse me if I'm vulgar, but a king ain't sweet like cake. Holding court, live in court, ladies, you just need a taste of what we been through. Judge will set you up for grape. And I ain't talking no more, I will not put on a cape. I do not confuse shit, we all gotta face reality. You woofing on your men like you an ape. My job is protecting black men up in the space, and also putting rude bitches back up in their place. Cross-examination, I look good to the race. Man, be a man, nigga, say it with your chest. Cause soft-spoken men, these lovely ladies don't respect. I can care less, I do not do this for checks. I do this for my sons and the black men I invest. It's time to get what I was, ladies, gotta pay your debt. You working with the same men who put it round our necks. You're not my sister, not my kind, you a threat. When the weather change, I hope you bitches feel me dead. Let this be reminders to the ones who disrespect. We are God's chosen men. When you say Jesus, you mean us.
The only Jesus I know is him, and the one thing he don't need is a partner.
Shut the fuss, we discuss with your fuckery. Past 100 years, you ain't loving me. Who was on the front line fighting? Yeah, fuck is me. Building all them black towns? Yeah, fuck is me. Kicking riots off Michael Brown? Yeah, fuck is me. Now you wanna put us underground? Not to fuck with me. Change your plans, baby, you can be replaced. Let freedom reign. No sunny white days, Martin Luther King. Single mama program chip for the simp queen. Mother goddess only gon' destroy us. It's the Blizzard King. Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. Hate watch on the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. Hate watch on the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. Hate watch on the Blizzard King.
They say that's the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
Fire for your mind. The Kosherclinician.
If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young hands picking back up and young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues, absent fathers who miss you, mama drama don't kiss you, all a part of the ritual, this is how they get you, separate the men, women, clipping babies pretend to, damn, lovers, haters, acting like vultures, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is Kosherclinician. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosherclinician. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosherclinician. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosherclinician. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen.
All right, guys, on tonight, we're going to have a great show. I got my man Brazil Yeesh in the house. And, there's an old saying, guys, that say the more things change, the more they remain the same. There's been a lot of controversy over the mobility of black men. And part of that mobility and part of that controversy is to more or less deter black men from the right to self-determination. But black men are rising up. Black men are unifying. Black men are beginning to do the things that's best for them. And black men are beginning to say no more. But before we transform, guys, get your pens and paper ready as we get ready to transform and renew our minds as Brazil Yeast coming to the house. Before Brazil come in, this is public service announcement by Coach Prime.
Men have asked us to play by their rules, but the rules have just changed. Nanobots, transform. I am Kosher Prime, Sentinel, Captain, Advocate for men. We have crossed a threshold in a time where men are under attack. But if we join forces, we can defeat those that seek to overthrow us in a negative way. Nanobots, transform.
All right, guys, it's time to transform. And when people try to stop you from doing what you want to do, Brazil Yeesh and I are going to remind you guys that women that transform or go abroad cannot do what black men that are travelers do. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of how women like Rebecca Lynn Pope had alluded to the manosphere hating women, how women like Courtney Michelle said that this space is a grift and it's dangerous, but also the dichotomous nature of how American women can be one way in America, but they can't do it abroad. Get your pens and paper ready, guys. We ain't gonna never quit. Let's go.
Friends go, it was simple. When the end's low, switch the tempo. When my friends go, it was simple. When the end's low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike. I go hard day and night, yeah. I go hard day and night.
We're gonna shame them again, man, on tonight. We're gonna keep fighting as Brazil Yeesh and I dissect how some of these black women can't even keep white zaddy. And the white man too is going abroad, getting him some of that Brazilian love, because some of these women in America, white and black, don't know how to respect black men or white men. What say you?
Same ones just talk and run. Some people go to war for none. Me, I go to war for some. Some people need knives and guns. Same ones just talk and run. When my friends go, it was simple. When the end's low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike. I go hard day and night. Money on the line, keep calling. Money on the books, need all that. My kids, they'll be ballin'. Got a real bankroll, not for Instagram. My mama on the line, keep calling. Praying for me, know I need all that. Told me it's not about ballin'. Real blessed, but I'm still sinning, man. What would you do for a win? What would you do for your friends? What if this life is a foe? What if it all is pretend? What if you roll to the end? What if you started again? This is real life, not a game. I fight my battles to win, but some people go to war for none. Me, I go to war for some. Some people need knives and guns. Same ones just talk and run. Some people go to war for none. Me, I go to war for some. Some people need knives and guns. Same ones just talk and run. When my friends go, it was simple. When the end's low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike. I go hard day and night.
Fire for your mind. The kosher.
All right, guys. I have a good show on tonight. I got the esteemed Brazil Yeesh in the house. And what you guys don't understand, Brazil Yeesh, guys, started the conversation. He started the conversation with the passport movement. He was a great contributor to this passport conversation and more or less how black men are traversing as it relates to the right to self-determination. The right to self-determination is a clinical term used in clinical therapy that more or less says that the patient has a right to live their life on their own terms. And Dr. William Glasser said that there are 5 elemental principles to the needs of men. And Dr. William Glasser said that needs drive behaviors. But what we're about to see on tonight is that the women that accost or castigate this space and don't understand what it means, they're understanding that they're going to understand and see that they have more privileges than women abroad. And what passport bros do, many of them cannot do because it's a patriarchy. We're going to talk about it on tonight, guys, Brazil Yeesh and I, and we're going to add clarity to the conversation and how men need to move. But not only that, the black woman that was in Saudi Arabia, her being arrested because she couldn't more or less operate outside her ecosystem. But also this white woman, the woman or the man that Rebecca Lynn Pope was saying that black women need to start dating white men, only to see and understand that Brad got him a passport woman too. We're going to kill it. We're going to break it down. Without further ado, my man Brazil Yeesh in the house. Brazil Yeesh, how you doing, sir? Unmute yourself.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Brazil Yeesh? Brazil Yeesh, you started this conversation, dog. You started the conversation about black men liberation, man. And Brazil Yeesh, you from up top, and you have seen the negative behavior of the modern woman. What inspired you to start your channel, Brazil Yeesh? And you did a classic show that I'm going to more or less bring up in a minute. And we're going to talk about this woman that got with a zaddy, only for zaddy to discard her because of her obtuse.
Hilarious.
Oh yeah, she got with zaddy. And Zaddy doing the trash can and got him some Brazilian yum yum. And Brazil, guys, Yeesh is going back to Brazil soon, I believe, Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a transformation is going on. You coined the term the Blue Book Gentleman. Being a world-class traveler, what has this done for your psyche, Brazil Yeesh? And why are so many men beginning to take on the mantle of what you're doing and beginning to travel abroad, brother?
Amid the chaos and the tapestry what's going on in the United States of America or any westernized practicing society, the essentials for us to move forward is what I thought. I was sitting there thinking one day, I said, yo, we're plagued with an abundance of just emotions from a one-sided vantage point. I said, so how can I become something that is different from a lot of these people that I'm, and I said, yo, just get your passport. Let's see what that's about. Let's see if you become multicultural. Let's see if you can become, to learn what diversity really means. That's why I wrote a book called The Diversity Measure. Mm-hmm. And this is what I wanted. I said, well, how is men by the millions are faltering from their endeavors in life? I said, yo, let's go back to what we've been trained. We've been trained to surround ourselves around women. Women. How is our money being depleted? Women. How is our emotional aspect of us, our emotional collectivism? Mm-hmm. Women. I said, how is it that women, how can I break free from this? You got to leave what the parasitic relationship, the parasitic and host relationship between United States of America women and the United States of America man. How can I make these things polar? Right now, there's just one side benefiting from it. I said, how can I do that? Get a passport. And that's what I did. I was determined. I even went off the side of the road. I was so determined to get out of this conundrum that we're in as United States of America men. And the only way to break that conundrum, the only way to get away from that was to get a passport. And that's exactly what I did.
No doubt, no doubt. And one would argue, Brazil, since you've gotten a passport, not only have your physical health increased, but also your mental health. Is that fair to say?
Oh, that's definitely fair to say.
You know, Brazil, I told some of these young men, for the single men, they travel to Brazil because Brazil doesn't have GMOs in the food. If they were impotent in America, if they were impotent in America, Brazil, man, them me to start singing that song, "When I Rise, Lord, When I Rise." Brazil, let's talk about the vibrancy of Brazil and what it means to the black man, because some say that when they travel, they feel like a man in foreign lands versus feeling like men here. Because see, many don't understand what this space is for. You got a lot of ignorant people that come to this space. Mm-hmm. They take things out of context. Mm-hmm. They say that these spaces are grift. They're more or less, scamming men. And I'm like, well, how are we scamming men? And we're telling men as content creators, yes, we want to be compensated for our work because you're a content creator. I'm a content creator. There are times, Brazil, that I salute and send you super chats. Do I not?
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
and so you put a lot of work and time in your craft as well as myself. Mm-hmm. But a grift and a scam is to promise somebody something without delivering the goods. A deception is trying to hide something for the sake of gain. And we're not trying to hide anything. What we're trying to do is to remove the illusion of having something wholesome in America. Because I would say that many in the West are the true deceivers. Many of the modern women are the true deceivers, Brazil, because they are promising black men something and white men as well, but especially black men, but they're getting nothing in return. Dr. William Glasser said this more succinctly than me. He said that needs drive behaviors. Brazil, what drove your behaviors? When you think about women in the West, what drove your behaviors? And before you answer the question, when you think about power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival, what element of those 5 things were you lacking before you decided to go abroad and date foreign women that were trained and raised to be traditional women?
The epitome of that, you said, what drove it? I'm thinking survival, the overall context of survival. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that my sexual prowess, my energy, that diminished. I'm thinking that my the aspect of men, emotional side of men, it dwindled, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that, again, all of what I'm ingesting, my dietary system, it was all lacking. Everything was being depleted from me because of this parasitic versus host relationship. So my whole goal was survive. How can I survive through this thing we call life? Mm-hmm. And the way we survive with this thing called life, if we got to put back within what was taken from us. And I said, okay, well, let me reinvigorate myself with putting back into my finances. Let me put back into my energy with the less GMOs by finding a country that has supreme fiber in their foods, the energy that we need, the alphabets, what we say, the true alphabets. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, how can I do that? What country I go to? No, I was thinking about the Mediterranean diet. Which country is going to revigorate what was taken from me? And it was the dietary system. Right. What about the spiritual system? How can I let that survive in the whole world that's trying to deplete it from me? And so the whole overall aspect is, think about this. U.S. travel, 74% of the travelers, right, for leisure, in the Americans in 2019 spent over $972 billion. $972 billion in 74% of the travel in the United States in 2019 was leisure. I just want people to think about it. It was leisure. So it was just all willy-nilly. Let me go back. Men as Blue Book gentlemen. Shout out to the Blue Book gentlemen out there.
Blue Book gentlemen, no doubt.
Yeah, all of the Blue Book gentlemen said, yo, a middle finger to leisure. Mm-hmm. I don't want leisure. Let me see how can I replenish myself. And that's exactly what I was thinking. Survival, 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 survival. And billions of dollars being used, almost $1 trillion being used, but it's not being used for my survival.
Right,
how can
right.
How can I readjust this? And I said, well, let me use those factors I just mentioned. Let me use that, because I think with you just using travel for leisure, I think it's terrorism on your inner being. I think you're being terroristic upon yourselves. Not only are what you've acquired up into that knowledge on what controls you externally, I think you're actually adding to that by not focusing on yourselves. So I believe in the philosophers that spoke on virtue with understanding and focusing on you first. I really believe those philosophers that focused on you first. There's virtue in focusing on you first, and there's growth in focusing on you first. So there's a whole bunch of aspects that I figured out. So on my live streams, you see me talk about this all the time. How can we generate something that's going to benefit you? And that's the only way is survival.
Yeah. And it's so empowering, man, because for so long, black men in America, but not only black men, American men in the West, have been seen as subjugates. Brazil, I'm a licensed professional, and I use these shows to use the art of life to convey a clinical message, no different than Jesus when he used parable, or our ancestors that were groits used storytelling to heal and to help our men transform. These shows are important because our men are beginning to wake up. No longer will gynocrats tell men how to think, because if they can say their body, their choice, fine. Men are saying my money, my choice. And it's empowering because men now are beginning to come together, to beginning to look at all the evidence, and they're all coming out unanimously saying that modern women are not worthy of being wives. They weren't trained to be wives, and they don't deserve the resources, Brazil Yeesh, associated from masculine men that have done the work. But before you answer that, Brazil Yeesh, shout out to my man KP from KC5. KP for KC5 is the #1 sponsor of the stream for his $15 super chat. Thank you, KP from KC5. And brother KP from KC5, that's a deal, right? Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
Shout out to my man Salty Balls for the $10 super sticker. Salute to Salty Balls. And also shout out to my man Gregory Scotland. He said, salute Kosher, one of your best live streams last night. I appreciate it, brother. Brilliant intellectual breakdown. No doubt, that's what it's all about. And I appreciate it.
Hello,
and Brazil Yeesh, there are a lot of pigeons in America. There are a lot of pigeons. There are a lot of pigeons. And American pigeons, Brazil Yeesh, you live up top. You were from, I think, up top, up north, northeast.
Yeah.
And pigeons just go everywhere defecating and damn causing chaos. They don't have the eloquence of a swan, but everywhere they go, Brazil Yeesh, they're defecating and causing chaos. Before you answer the question, I'm going to ask you, do you see pigeon behavior abroad? And before you answer that, this is a public service announcement.
Flies eat poop. Get over it, okay? That's for you.
Shut up, Kosher. Shut up. Shut up, Kosher. Take it back.
Yeah, there's a lot of pigeon-ish, Brazil, because they don't want to be held accountable. When you think about how women in the West got it made, Brazil Yeesh, tell the audience how women in America have it better than men abroad. Talk about the consequences for disrespectful behavior, as we're about to get into it later tonight about this video that you did, but also this black woman that was detained in Saudi Arabia for not understanding the laws in that country.
I feel that there's a difference between chaos and order, and for society like the United States of America to operate in order, we got to remove a lot of the chaos. I think women have been given a green light on their chaotic behavior with no consequences. We see the lighter sentences that happen in the United States of America. We see how they would do the same crime as men. For instance, it's disgraceful, and you should be put under for touching children. But we see that recently there was a 13-year-old who had a baby with a teacher, and the teacher got no jail time.
Right.
So I just want us to cause that conclusion. We've seen that they practice on low-impoverished environments first. When Hitler and Stalin wanted to do what they did, the first thing they did was go to Africa, and they practice on Africans, right? Same way they do in the United States of America. They practice on the law. They said, let's go in the house, let's remove the men, and let's pay them. Chaos. Let's cause chaos, right? Let's pay the men to pay the women to get the men out, right? So they say, okay, this is working for them. They're the leaders. They're the followers. They always think they're the ones who are, everything is perpetrated on. Maybe this will trickle over into the suburbs, and that's exactly what happened. So the suburbs are now mimicking what they see in the low-impoverished areas. So now this is a global thing. They said, well, if this worked in the United States of America, maybe this will work globally. How can we get you guys to pay? But what they don't realize is in these other countries, right, men will harm women and don't think twice about it. In the United States of America,
right, yes, sir, right.
We'll have a resolve. We'll have some cadence. We'll have some discipline. We'll have some decorum, and we'll pull back a lot of times, right? Because it's been ingrained in us. Women can do no wrong. Women go to the bathroom and crap just like us. Women they do everything like as far as physically. So we think for women go in the bathroom and we'll go in there after them and there's flowers. That's not true. That's not true. There's chaos. So when you have a transcendent human realm that operate like this, where there's no comprehension of the way the nature of a woman operates, the first thing she do to cause chaos is she go to her father.
Right.
And say, how can I get something out of my daddy? My father is the one that she practiced on first. Maybe if I bat a little eye, maybe if I drop a little cheek or a little lip. So she practices on her father first before she gets out into the world. She's programmed to now. Again, some of you might disagree with me on this. The kosherclinician might disagree with me on this.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
But the first thing she does to practice her chaotic behavior is on her father, her uncles, her brothers, anybody that would. And the first thing who defend her is her father against her brothers, the father against her cousins, the father against.
I agree with
friends.
that. I agree with you. I agree. I agree with that. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
right, no.
that's exactly what happens. So that's the first person that equivocates chaos within the male and the female dynamic. So go ahead, Coach. I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, brother. You're cooking, man. It's a good time to be a man in America, Brazil Yeesh. Men are beginning to accuse themselves of the shenanigans of the modern woman, and many don't like the fact that they can't control the conversation. They use shaming language to control the conversation. They would try to insult you to control the conversation. They were trying to guilt you to come back to America and take subpar women. They have not been trained to be wives. Subpar women that got babies by Raekwon the Man, Brazil Yeesh. And subpar women, you're going to laugh at this, Brazil Yeesh. And subpar women, Brazil Yeesh, that have no control, but also subpar women that's been ran through. And we know women in South America, some of them are ran through too, but when you compare the typical South American woman to the North American woman, what is the biggest difference that men can see? Because one of the things, before you answer that question, Brazil, I told men that women are universal everywhere they go. But the biggest difference that you saw or see as you're about to go back to South America, to Brazil, what's the biggest difference in a Brazilian woman compared to an American woman?
First of all, there's this, I give it the 4 elements of femininity, right? They have that stronger than the women in the United States of America, women overall. For instance, foreign women are to get around other feminine women, and they get in those environments and they cultivate their femininity.
Right.
That's what they do. They cultivate it, they shape it, they increase it, they grow it. And when they get around each other, they don't necessarily talk bad about their men. Those conversations come up. But the true the true feminine women, like, let's stay out of that conversation. Let's see how we can grow within us, right? Number 2, the second thing, they spend time alone.
Right.
That's the second thing they do. If you look at South American women in particular, is what my expertise is in, right? They grow their femininity by spending time alone. That's why you see them. What you see in movies, they really operate like that, where they spend time alone. They might be in a bathtub playing music and just listening to the music. They're cultivating, they mature in their femininity and growing it. And they spend time alone. They don't bother them. Most men know not to bother. Lead them alone. Let that foreign woman cultivate her femininity. And that time alone will add to it. The third one is, again, they have to be around you. They have to be around. They have to have that touch from you. They have to have that good loving from you. They have to have that. You got to shape it by bringing your masculinity toward her femininity and femininity and growing it. And growing it and maturing it and having it push forward through that. And the fourth thing is, they need to take hold of, again, knowledge. They need to take hold of knowledge. You need to implement them knowledge, something to give them, to have them shape it. They can't have everything masculine, but you can present them stuff or keep their minds going with, and foreign women know that, and that's the difference. And again, it forms this. The things that form this out of those 4 elements of femininity, it'll create 5 other spin-offs of that. It's called the force. Feminine, emotionally organized, because you train, you're shaping them into that with those elements. Respect, cooperation, and encouragement. Foreign women have that.
Force. I like that.
The force. Right. May the force be with you. A feminine, organized, respectful, cooperative, and encouraging foreign woman. That's called the force.
That's called the force, no doubt. No doubt. And you know, that force will resurrect your manhood if you're a single man. And and you know, that's why I don't understand when some of these slow people say this space is a grift, but yet we're trying to inspire men to travel abroad to explore and expand their options. You know, a grift once again means to scam or deceive. But the men are saying, you know, let's explore our options. If you're telling men to travel abroad to explore their options, if they can't find what they're looking for here, how's that a grift? Let's use some common sense. Because a grift will tell you to stay here, deal with obtuse women, women that got bad attitudes, grossly overweight. We know some of it's GMOs because some of the men are overweight too. But also women that have not been trained traditionally to compliment men. What we see here in America, men try to serve the women first before the woman served the man first in the beauty of righteousness. In the Hebrew, the word 7 means complete, or the skeva, it means to be complete. And I told men in Brazil, there are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized. One of those 7 steps to male optimization is world travel, because what it does, Brazil Yeesh, it removes the illusion of what a woman really is. Once men begin to see what a true feminine woman is, Brazil Yeesh, they will never be the same again. To the point, Brazil Yeesh, consistent with Irvin Yalom. I said Ivan in the past, but his name is Irvin Yalom. He said that men go through what's called a catharsis, and that's crying. They're shedding tears. They're emoting because of the brokenness that they're having. But let's talk about the men that have a transformative reality when they travel abroad and see women from countries that know how to heal them, but not only to heal them through their femininity, but know how to speak life into them so that they can become better men. Once again, we know that women abroad are not perfect. We're going to talk about some of the negative aspects of South American women, but we will say by far that the South American woman in general is superior to the American woman. Is that fair to say?
In my opinion, yes. Because we got to think about how these guys are contemplating their issues, right? So if we are grift, as they're saying, why is the cognitive abilities of men are shaping the way these guys travel instead of them focus on one particular thing? I saw something in your chat earlier said, oh, I hear what he's saying, but why isn't he married? You see that? They want to put you on the paradigm of what shaped them. Shape their understanding of a connection between them. It's not only that you have a connection. They said, no, that's not enough. We got to see something on governmental paper that says that you and that woman, whoever you're with, or you and those women, if you believe in polygyny or polygamy, you and those women have to have something written down on paper. You see how we're getting out of that spectrum. We're getting out of that realm of these men in particular saying that we have to have it a certain way. We have to do something the certain way that was shaped to them, and formed to them in the United States of America. We say a middle finger to all of yous. A middle finger to all of you. We don't agree with that. We don't. Traveling should be a lavish dance. It should be something that you lavishly do. It's like an orchestra. Everything has to go in play. And because a woman give us that, again, now, it's not all for women. Women are just the icing on the cake after we put in the work.
Right.
But for us to get into that realm but in the United States, here's the crazy thing about it. They put these stipulations on us in the United States of America. In the United States of America, men that travel overseas, but in the United States of America, women are divorcing like never before. That is never bringing up. That is never a catalyst. That is never a focal point of these men. Of these men, but they'll focus on us. But are they genuinely better? I should say. And people say there's no such thing as better. Yes, the hell they are. Yes, they are. Let me excuse my vernacular.
You're right,
but yes, there is. There's a such thing as better. For instance, if my car runs a little bit better than yours and I'm able to operate with no causes and no interruptions between what I want to do with or the attempt that I'm trying to use with my car or motorcycle, that means my car runs better than yours. There's a certain thing called better. It is. So if the relationship dynamic, whether it is marriage or just a simple relationship, and making a connection between you and her that doesn't deal with the law, is my connection with her better than the connections I had or will have in the United States? Yes, it is. Because of those levels I just mentioned, because of how they operate, the environment matters. I did a video called Never Bring Her Back to America. Took a lot of heat years ago. And I correlated this between a shark. You can never captivate a shark. You can never put a shark in captivity. You can never do it. The shark, the great white shark in particular, will always die.
Right.
And you say, why does it die? Why does a great white, when you put it in captivity and want to show it off in a museum, the same way guys want us to do as far as their marriage, and all of this is fictitious, it's fake, it's phony. All of these marriages mean nothing from the core. So with that being said, why would I bring a foreign woman back to the United States, the shores of the United States of America, when I know you're going to die? You say, why? Because a great white has things. It has to move. It has to mature. It has to go through that. The movements of different oceans, different climates, different interactions with the ocean. It has to do that. It has to constantly do that. You've known sharks that move from the shores of India all the way to the United States of America, close to it. And they've recorded sharks to travel that far. You know why? Because it has to move. It has to have steady motion. Number two, it has to go in the abyss, the depths of the ocean, because that's the way it excretes. It pushes along its what? This internal organs that help it to excrete, and that's the only way. It has to go to a certain depth for it to really have a great bowel movement. Mm-hmm. And you say, well, yes, how does that correlate to the United States of America? Okay, I get you. Well, if you bring the woman back from a foreign land into the shores of the United States of America, it can't operate like that.
Right.
It can't. It's been cultivated in its environment. Mm-hmm. A foreign woman cannot operate like that. First, you're going to destroy her ability to be around her familiar structure, the family structure.
I see your point.
What
yes,
he's
sir.
used to. Mm-hmm. Think about that. She can't have the certain friends that cultivated her femininity, that cultivated her cooperation, or anything that's a part of her. She's losing those abilities. Now, the third thing, she can't be in that environment. Maybe the weather, what she's used to. You bringing her to an environment in the East Coast, in the Northeast, that's going to destroy her. She's not used to snow. She's not used to all of that. Her environment, man. She's not used to being around not being around her father, her uncles, everybody that you can talk to that can help you maintain her femininity, that can maintain her emotional organization, that can maintain her respect, her cooperation and encouragement. You're removing that from her. The very thing that you're removing it from the aunts, the mothers, the sisters that she's been around all of these times, to shape her femininity, to shape her cooperation. You're depleting her from that. The same way the sharks are depleted from their environment is the same thing you're doing to her.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so many try to deny and defer the right for men to use or get that feminine force that's appalling. But in the meantime, we're going to have a good show, Brazil. We're going to get deep into it. And thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, man, for this impromptu announcement. But shout out to the Real Bravado Network for the $50 spot. Real Bravado Network, brother, you're the #1 sponsor of this stream for your $50 support. Real Bravado said, I didn't know that Courtney Michelle flipped like that. Well, many didn't know. But I flipped last night, Brazil, yeesh, when this woman challenged my credentials. I had to Leo flex on that ass because I normally don't get out of character, but, a woman that's worried about my credentials, a woman that's not even a licensed professional, a woman that's not don't even have the credentials to even have a conversation on this topic. Got the nerve to insert her mouth into men affairs. And that happens a lot. Women in America tend to assert themselves into men affairs. But in Brazil and South America and foreign countries, women know their place. And we're going to talk about it in a minute. But in the meantime, shout out, he said, I didn't know that she flipped like that, exposed the defecating pigeons. Salute to you. And yeah, man, I got to expose them defecating pigeons because they be defecating all over the place.
Flies eat poop. Get over it. Okay? That's for you.
Yeah. Shut up, Kosher. Yeah. Shut up.
Whoa.
Shut up, Kosher.
Ballin'.
Take it back.
Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin'. Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for mine. I got 9, couldn't wait in line. Game time.
Shut up, Kosher. Shut up.
It's game time, Brazil Yeesh. It's game time, and men are beginning to remove themselves from pigeon behavior. You saw it before you went to Brazil. Let's talk about the pigeon behavior that you saw that more or less pushed you to get in the force that you were talking about. Let's talk about that pigeon behavior that you saw, Brazil, that pushed you to get in the force that you're talking about now.
Are you talking about in the United States, or you talking about?
Yes, sir. Pigeon behavior. So pigeon behavior, this basically means reckless women with their mouths, defecating everywhere, with bad behavior, just leaving damn ish stains everywhere. But yet at the same damn time, women in Brazil act like swans. They have a feminine decorum. And so the difference between a pigeon and a swan, swans do defecate, but I will argue that they're not defecating on top of your head. So they have a
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm used to. I had again, I told this story before, but let me tell this to your audience.
Yes, sir.
I've told this story before. I said that there's no repercussions or ramification when you see that the women in the United States of America traveled all the way to Ghana and actually twerked on historical.
Right. We're gonna talk about that.
So when you think that you have a group like that, and I call it now, kosher clinician, you might disagree with me, your audience, cool, or you might agree with me. It's either or.
Yes, sir.
I think there are different types, and I get a lot of people talk about color and race and that, and I get that, I'm with it. I understand where you guys are coming from, and I try to avoid those conversations, but when I do, I just say, let's think about this. There are central blacks, right? I call them central blacks. Y'all call them, somebody put in my chat earlier, ADOS, whatever that means. So I see people saying different things, what they call it. I get it. I call them central blacks. These are the blacks that came from the United States of America, right? Through slavery and all of that, their ancestors, and many of them don't know most of them don't know where they came from. They don't know who they are. They don't know what language they spoke. Those are called central blacks. Everything outside of that is Dominican blacks, African blacks, Asian blacks, whatever you call it. Anything, Brazilian blacks, Colombian blacks, all of those are outside of that. Now, I just made a separation. With the United States of America, they got a digital, in this digital age, they have a way to influence those that find it where they want to snap their fingers. They always want to tell the men off. They always want to do that in their societies. Those are the women that you see in foreign countries that are these pigeons that you say. These are the women that are trying to mimic the women in the United States of America that's trying to be like them, that's trying to have snaps like them, that's trying to, these are the women. We don't deal with those women overseas for the most part. Now, do you have those dirt balls? I call them dirt balls. Do you have those dirt balls that do try to mess with those women and bring that style of dealing with foreign women overseas? Yes. We're not going to play like this is all peaches and cream, everything is a blissful. No, we have those guys that go over there that encourage these women to operate outside of what their communities, what their societies, what their environments taught them to be like. Those women are lost causes. And the only way they're going to come back is men separate themselves. And overseas, men always separate themselves from those type of women. Right. Those women are ostracized. They are. They're ostracized. They're put aside. Nobody wants to deal with them until they get back on the page of that community, that environment, that village. Right? They always just seem to come back. But the pigeon aspect of this, we've seen this. I've seen this in my interactions with dating and marriage. I stopped dating almost 10 years ago. And it's coming up to the 10th year. I stopped dating in the United States of America almost 10 years ago because I saw this pigeon behavior. I saw them make the songs. I saw them being on talk shows. I said, how can anybody give them a voice? We give pigeons a voice in the United States of America. Overseas, they silence them.
They silence them. Yes, sir. Right. I'm going to show you something in a minute that symbolize pigeon behavior. And we're going to get into this divester because not only black men are getting sick of the pigeons in the West, White Zaddy is too. White Zaddy had him a black woman. You did an excellent job on that clip. And Rebecca Lynn Pope said that black women should consider dating white men. And listen, I personally don't care. If you want to date a white man, that's your business. But what they don't understand is that they'll never get the masculine allure of a masculine man. And something else, Brazil Yeesh, from what I've heard, I heard foreign women love black men based on what's called the BBC theory. I heard they love them eggplants, man. I think a lot of women in the West, they don't want to respect black men, but they don't want to see that eggplant going to other women. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But shout out to Gregory Scotland for the 5. He said, Coach, I think women came into the black manosphere and thought many men were stupid and couldn't recognize the con. Yes, But listen, man, I know BS when I see it, man. I totally agree on your dynamite. And shout out to my man Top Gun for the 5. He said, at the kosherclinician, but your mama's black. Aren't you married to a black woman who hurt you, Silky Black? Yeah, so I'm going to show you some pigeon behavior and tell me how this behavior is dealt with in Brazil, because women in the West don't understand. You don't disrespect men in foreign countries. Once again, you can lose your life in foreign countries. You know, women don't even have a say in men affairs in South America. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is.
So I just had a thought about red pill and how I think it's, quite frankly, parallel to what big pharma companies are doing. And it's this idea of taking a pill. We all know that it's not meant to heal you. It's to make sure that you can still live on in the condition that you're in, that you're always going to need it. And because you're always going to need it because it doesn't heal you, then it makes those companies a hell of a lot of money, because right now they have a lifetime subscriber. Just like this red pill ideology is not for healing. It's to keep you in your same condition, and you have weirdos online that's telling you how to live that ain't never had it, could never have it, will never have it. The life they're telling you that you should have, that you should subscribe to. It's keeping you in a perpetual state of loneliness, of sadness. And you go to these people to hear, to make you feel good about your decisions that you continuously make. Get healed. Get out of these spaces. Go out. Meet people in the real world.
Today we have a...
What this silly woman don't understand is that black men are getting out. Black men went outside, saw pigeons in America, came back on the inside because they were pigeons, decided to get passports and travel abroad. Brazil, I don't know if you consider yourself part of the manosphere. I don't know if you do. Maybe you just associate. But what you're doing really is manosphere to some degree, because you are enlightening men about the possibilities of world travel and finding feminine women. And so this woman said, get out and meet people. Well, that sounds contraindicated, woman, because that's what men are doing. Men are getting out, meeting people. That's why men are traveling, getting passports, because foreign women, modern women in the West don't qualify to be wives. What do you say about this woman pronouncement, and doesn't what she say sound contraindicated? And before you respond, shout out to my man, The Quiet Storm, as he's the second sponsor of the stream for the $20 hitter. He said, for tonight's therapy session, congrats on the 8,000 subs. I appreciate it. And peace to one of the OGs, Blue Book gentleman, D. Brazil Yeesh. And Brazil, I got another powerful show I had to bring you back on Sunday, man. Or say it's going to be extremely powerful. And nice. Yeah, it's going to be dope, man. And so just be on standby, man. And so shout out to him. And The Quiet Storm, you are the second sponsor of the stream, and that's a deal, right? Thank you, sir. Appreciate
right? It. That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
Shout out to my man, Top Gun. He said, are you ready for the chameleon? And Top Gun wild as hell. The chameleon Chewbacca, that dude wild, man. But anyway, what do you think about what this woman said, man? What do you think about what this woman said? About men need to get out, because basically what she's doing, she's momming black men and shaming black men, which is weird. It's weird.
Yeah, she's trying to bring negativity to this whole situation. But we got to think about personal history and what people have been. The first thing why dudes even look at a pill, right, is because of you all. That's the reason why they're looking at a pill or determining a pill, because of you all, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when it get from under you all, and it doesn't have to be therapy, they just got to stop dealing with you, the United States of America woman. Once they stop that, once they cease that, they always men always correct themselves.
Right.
They seem to always correct themselves because they deal with the pain, the disappointment, the trauma that these women put them on, right? And it's not necessarily that it's a trauma that's going to determine if they stop messing with them, they're still going to be traumatic. No, it's just that they stop after dealing with you all. Once they take whatever pill it is to correct that, they're going to get automatically, instantly, they're going to be better. For instance, men, I'm a walking example. She can use me as a walking example and say, well, you need to do this. I don't need to do none of that. I didn't have to do any of it and don't have to do it now, right? The essential point, the essential aspect that I had to recognize with me, without all of this, is once I got my economic status increased, right? Once I stopped dealing with them, the people that are causing you to, when you deal with them, causing you to have trauma, causing you to have internal issues, causing you to have emotional. These women are the problem. Once I removed myself and stopped dating in the United States of America, I didn't have to go to a therapist. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to say something's wrong with me. Automatically, people are like, man, your whole aura loosen up. It lighten up.
Right. It lighten up. Right.
It lighten up because I stopped dealing with United States of America women and stopped focusing on dating and marriage. Right. That increased everything around me. It increased my financial stability. It increased my emotional makeup. It increased my friendships. Not that I had to go out there in public. I had to stop dealing with you all. And once I stopped dealing with you all and then got a passport on top of that, oh man, you talk about the negative, my negative encounters, all of what I've encountered with the United States of America, my memories, all of the biases, all of the instances of failure and humiliation and sadness that they brought to me, it all subsided. It all subsided, and I had an upliftment with everything around me. So I think it is just guys got to stop focusing on them, at period. Just period. How they women say it in the United period, and they add the T to it. I'm talking about when you guys alleviate themselves from when guys alleviate themselves from these environments with these negative beings, they will increase everything around them.
Yeah. Just listen to what she's saying, man. And you're gonna see the foolishness of this woman. Hold tight.
Classic case of the chameleon. Raised with a tradition, also class.
My pleasure.
Now,
you're here because I allow.
Now, Brazil, you should listen to this woman disrespect to a man. I want you to listen, and then I want you to answer the question about you being an adjacent or associated because you took the red pill. And the red pill just basically means I was going through an existentialist crisis. I see it for what it is now. That's all it really means. But people somehow think that the red pill means to keep men in a state of perpetual animation, which is not. Are there some men that stay in that state of rage too long? Yes, but every man is in different stages of their epigenesis. You were in a different stage of your epigenesis years ago, but you're a better man now. Your rage went away once you got a taste of the force. But hold tight and listen to how this woman disrespect this black man.
Understand that. Know that. You're here at my pleasure. You're here because I allow it. And you will conduct yourself the way I see fit, or you can get the fuck on. What is wrong with you? Okay. Like a good point to get Messy Michon in here. Messy Michon, you're on the air. Obsidian Radio. What do you make of all this?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you just fine. Go right ahead.
Thank you, sir. Miss Courtney Michelle, you have something to say to me?
I don't have nothing to say to you.
Okay. So it was a mistake what you was typing in the chat today?
What I say?
Okay.
I don't fuck with you. So
and same, ditto.
So I don't have nothing to say with you. So what?
Okay. And I'm just want to make sure I'm giving you your opportunity instead of just sitting there typing in the daggone chat. You ain't never said nothing to me before. So why you typing it in the chat, I have no idea. Not that I really care at the end of the day. Understanding now that Kevin Samuels did not know me at all. And even if he did or anyone else thinks that I'm ugly, I'm good.
That's what you're doing right now.
Pillow talk.
She pillow talking. People get hurt behind stuff like
says I'm still waiting for her to provide the receipt of my multiple deletions. We're waiting for you.
You know, she's a whore. So whatever.
Says you.
You know that you was.
What happens, Brazil yeast, to women that exhibit pigeon behavior in Brazil? What happens to women like that? Based on this woman's behavior, what would happen to her living in foreign lands? What would happen to her?
Again, like I said, she'll get ostracized. Nobody want to deal with her, and she'd get tagged in the community. They get tagged in the community automatically. They automatically put women like that in a certain box, and nobody wants to deal with them. They don't want to engage with them. They don't want to deal with them. They call them crazy. They don't. The only ones that deal with them are like people like them that share their same interests, so to speak. So they don't want to deal with them. They don't want to be around them. They don't want to associate. They don't want their family around them. And this is very prevalent in a place like Brazil. If you could, like, this is crazy. If you considered a pigeon or operating from pigeon behavior, you known to corrupt, they isolate themselves and they really tag everybody that around it knows you. That's why the first thing these women do in places like that, they move. They move. They transition from one environment to the other. And then now they try to reinvent themselves. And when that community learns about them, then they got to move again. Then they got to move again. Then they got to move again. See, in our society, that's, you got 50% that say their thing, well, let's defend them. Now she got a right to be who she is. Then you got another 20 or 30%, not even 30. I'll say about 20% that says, yeah, we need to get her out of here. We need to. Then you got those 30% that's in between. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to side with because it reminds them of their mother. It reminds them of their sister. It reminds them of everybody around them. That's the problem. You see, the central blacks pull people like this and say, well, we just can't ostracize. We ain't that community. We gonna take everybody. Like, you know how the church say, come as you are?
Right.
The church say, come as you are? Nah. It's to come in, but you got to change. In the communities, they say, nope, you can come in and still be a pigeon. You can. So they still know that they have those people that are still going to vibe for them, that's still going to protect them, that are still going to side with them. That's why we can't get rid of this type of behavior. But overseas, nah. They like, yo, get them out of here, yo.
Right. And I think all too often we tolerate that BS because we live in a gynocracy. But abroad, it's not a gynocracy. It's a healthy patriarch. And some would say it's not even healthy because those men don't play. Shout out to Top Gun. He said Kevin Sam is going to visit her in her dreams for lying on him.
Hello, lucky person. You got the number right.
I want you to answer the question. Would you consider yourself manosphere, or you just associate with the talking points? Brazil Yeesh.
I've never heard about that. I started traveling first.
Okay.
And then I heard about all of this, but my 333 plan is not manosphere. For instance, I tell guys that travel out the country every 2.5, 3 months. That's not manosphere, right? I tell guys to never date or marry in the United States of America. Never. 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 That's not manosphere. I tell guys that, now, again, these are my conceptual arguments. This is what I presented to the manosphere, and a lot of these guys gravitated to what I was saying about travel. Even Charles Tyler and all these other guys didn't adhere to what I'm saying. Now, I told you, I said the 777 plan. Most guys don't know that, but this is in my books, right? I told guys that they need the 777 plan, right? Not only do you need the 333 plan, you need the 777 plan. And you also need that to operate. I told guys, don't even talk to women. Now listen to what the fourth one I told guys, don't even have communications with them. Don't talk to them on panels. Don't interact with them. Don't listen to what they say. That's not manosphere. All of the guys on the manosphere want to talk to these women. I'm not manosphere. I'm just telling you, this is the travel. Yes, Jonas, the Brazil, yes, what I brought to this conversation. I told guys, never bring a woman back to the United States. The men in the manosphere said, bring them back. It's okay. I had a wife. And I say, don't ever bring them back to the shores of the United States at all. I was the only one saying it at the time. years ago.
Right.
I took heat for it. I took heat for it. I battled the OGs at the time for that. I battled them. So I said, and I can keep going on and on. What's not manosphere, what I talk about. So am I part of it? No.
Well, let me say this. I'm going to say this, and this is really to give you credit. The manosphere is broad and diverse. Part of manospherian talk, it's like, I'm not a card-carrying member of the manosphere, but I do associate with them. I became adjacent by default because your talking points, there are men in this space that believe what you believe. Obsidian is one of the founding fathers of the manosphere. He just got his passport. So the manosphere is not no one thing. It's a broad ideology.
But let me say this, Kosher Clinician. At the time, listen to what I'm saying. Right. At the time, none of these guys who talking that they were part of the manosphere was talking about travel, except guys like Charles Tyler, Al Grease dropped the documentary and stuff like that. These guys, when I came out, were the guys that came out about 2 or 3 years before I came out. You see what I'm saying? These guys were the ones. I didn't know about them until I came and started traveling. Then I found out about these guys later. I never knew about these guys. Let me reiterate that on your show. I never knew about these guys. But these guys is what I've heard came around about 2-3 years, and I started Charles Tyler, even I got the screenshots and I'll never delete them. I got the files. Saying how he wanted to meet me, how my message was different from him. I got the messages. These guys don't have that because they didn't communicate with him. He communicated with me. He found me. He heard about me. So all of these guys that heard about travel, these guys in the ministry wasn't teaching to go overseas. They didn't care for that. Matter of fact, all of these guys agreed with the dating coaches that all of us were weak. We were just running. All of it. The only person that was really doing interviews was O'Shea. O'Shea, he was really doing interviews around it. No, man, I want to give these guys a voice. You see what I'm saying? He was the only one that was really giving guys a voice. All the rest of these guys thought we were running. They talked bad about us. They said we're weak. They said all of that. So that's what they shamed the guys that were going over.
No. I understand what you're saying, but hold on. But I'm gonna refrain. So let me go back to what I'm saying. O'Shea it's not really manosphere. He does his own thing. But O'Shea, Angry Man, and Obsidian were the founding fathers of the manosphere.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. O'Shea was the only one to give us a voice.
Okay, right. And so what I'm saying is that I became manosphere as an adjacent. I've always been kosher, and I'm gonna show it to you in a minute. I've always been advocating for men in a direct and an indirect way. And I was doing this Brazil Yeast 28 years ago. Hold tight.
Before there was the manosphere, I was. Before there was the internet, I was. I was that Sigma male crying out in the wilderness for justice and equality for those that are downtrodden and broken, those that are voiceless. I was the kosher clinician before I was the kosher clinician on the internet. My plight and my war cry for justice and humanity is nothing fake. But I've always been kosher. And sit back and get this kosher fun.
And so I've always talked about male equality primarily, but also at the time, treating women fairly, but through the lens of a black male perspective. Always been black male perspective. So I understand what you're saying, but just like church denominations, Brazil Yeast, just like the Hebrew Israelites, there are different branches of it. Manosphere is just an all-encompassing term, but there are different branches. Some are more pro, some are less. And I do agree with you. I think there are more associates and adjacents than pure. And so, like I said, now a lot of men are beginning to evolve. I don't know if you had the conversation with Obsidian, but a lot of men are evolving to what you're saying now. And I was in Brazil with Al Grease. Did you know that? I don't know if you knew or not. But
yeah. I heard you was on the You did, yeah.
And we're gonna look at some clips of that documentary tonight. But I've always been for men having the right to self-determination and traveling abroad. And I've always been for it because I knew it was necessary, Brazil Yeesh, for men to get the outcomes that they deserve. Shout out to my man Andrew Baker for that $100,000 Colombian pesos. He said, salute kosher and yeesh. It's a new day for many men who are waking up to this BS associated with westernized women. Men first and never settle for less. Get your passport. Shout out to Black Ram, the real pill.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
All right, hold tight, Yeesh. You know, Brazil, Yeesh, there have been a lot of Western women, sadly, some they get white men, they flex on black men. What inspired you, Brazil Yeesh, to compile this video about this black woman getting a white zaddy?
Because they put him on a pedestal. And I don't, again, I don't like when no man puts women on a pedestal of a particular color. Or so why would I accept the same for women? I'm like, yo, people are people. No matter where you go, the environment matters. That's the only thing that matters. The environment, their makeup, how they were raised and stuff like that. That's in particular how they were. So if you automatically think because somebody has a certain skin color that they need to be uplifted, that they need to be recognized, that they need to, you run in a slippery slope to disappointment. And disappointment is delayed hope. Disappointment is delayed aggravation. It's just delayed for something to go wrong with you mentally. And that's what I thought. So when I looked at her video, I said, yo, she's dealing with something internally before I even knew who she was married to. I said, she's dealing with something internally. And the first thing she kept saying is the boy trying to prove her point, trying to put him out there as if these relationships are just, again, these show relationships. These are show pieces. A lot of these relationships, like for instance, the basketball player, the young lady from LSU, she got a new boyfriend and she's a show. He's a showpiece.
It's a showpiece, right?
It's not real, and that's exactly what she did. And I saw her just showing him and being around him and finding solace in him just being his certain race or color, ethnicity, grouping, category. I said, yo, this is crazy. She's operating in the same vein. And I said, man, who is she dating? And I start going down her videos. I started like delving deep into her videos and seeing, and then once I saw who she was dating, I was like, oh, that's why she's responding like this. This is why she has this pizzazz. I said, this is why she has this, now she has this, again, my favorite word, bravado. I said, because of him. And I said, she doesn't like who she is internally. And she thinks she gets a few points. Now, they maybe have been together for years. They've been together for years before that. But I said, yo, he don't really like her like that. He see the direction that she's going in, but he does not like her. You can see it on his face. You can see it in his interaction on the videos. I said, he's gone. And the moment she dropped that video where she was like, yeah, he's gone. He left to, let's just say, Brazil. And when she said that in the video, I was like, oh, what did she just say? And I started going through all of her videos, and I saw that he bounced and went to Brazil. He bounced and said, yo, these women are better. He said, yo, he had enough gall in the video to say, yo, you canceled the Netflix? He didn't care that he left her. He asked if she canceled the Netflix or what's going on with his account on eBay and all those particular things. So I knew something. I was like, hold up. He find those women in foreign countries are better. He find those women more of what he desires. And I said, and he actually went and got one. He didn't get many. He got one. To where he was trying to buy her some new shoes and stuff like that. So for years he's checked out. He already checked out. He didn't want her anymore. He didn't desire her anymore. He knew what she was about. He knew that she was only uplifting him all of those years for because he was white, because of the color of his skin. He knew what she was suffering from. He said, well, when is the right time for me to get out of here? And it was at that time, he knew what he wanted to do it. That's why I did a video that said the 3 countries that you don't want to visit if you're married or in a serious relationship. Number 1 was, again, Colombia. Number 2 was Thailand. Number 3 was Brazil. Those were the 3 countries that'll make you leave your wife. And that video went viral. It did almost 1 million views before TikTok deleted my channel. It did
wow.
1 million views before TikTok deleted my channel because those countries have a different effect on men in particular. So, and I realized that. So when I started looking at her videos, I said, yo, she's missing something. And she's only grandizing and only doing this because of his skin color. And I was right, because here's my point. People say, well, how do you know that? Yes. If you look at her videos and you look at the bottom half of those videos to see, she said, now I could be myself now that I'm dealing with this white guy. And the first thing she used was the N-word. Hold on, let me repeat. That went over a lot of people's heads.
Right.
She said, now I can be myself. And now, yes, now I'm using the N-word. And that telling you that they got to put on this facade, that they go put on somebody that they're not. And with black dudes, they could be belligerent. They could be out of pocket. They could be all up in your face because they know they have who they have, their daddy, which is the police.
Yeah, and we're about to see this woman. We're about to see this woman that got detained in Dubai, Brazil, Yeesh, because men move different abroad. Those countries are pure patriarchies for the most part. Some are more draconian, some are more balanced. Would you say Brazil has a balanced patriarchy, or is it more draconian? What would you say about that, Brazil?
I know there's not no balance. The men, whether they poor or rich, they still run that country. Bro, I've seen it. That's why women are in fear. They don't play with the men in Brazil. And I love that. Healthy, to me, is a healthy fear. You guys in the United States of America, in your armchair, you're armchair activists and you're reactionary activists. That's what you are. You're reactionary activists. You on your high chair saying, oh, that's not healthy. The men shouldn't. That's good for society. Well, women never think because they have a particular career that they think they can be up in a man's face and talking to men crazy. I do not think that's healthy for society. Just because somebody said, we're going to put you, that's why the first thing the women do, they try to isolate themselves away from the men, but they can't in a place like Brazil. So they know how to work accordingly. They know not to be at a chicken shack yelling in just because they, again, top tier, and they know they have good food down here. Right, which is in the lowly part of the communities of Brazil. They know not to go in those communities and say, bro, if that same incident happened in Chicago as it happened in Brazil, that woman would not have mouthed back. She would not have said nothing because they know what will happen in the whole society, the community would have said, yeah, you need to shut up. The women would have scolded her for that. But in the United States of America, it's different. It's different. They operate a little differently. So in places like that, now the men still have and you could call it draconian, you could say, but I think it's healthy. I'm going to use the word healthy. Society needs that to the women who think that they can conquer a man with their vernacular, with their expressions, with anything in a negative way, because they know men have this certain power. Men have this certain energy about them that they know they need to subdue themselves around, or else they'll get got. Like the animal kingdom. I don't care where it's at. I don't care where it is. The animal kingdom, unless you have a cub, the female, notice what I'm saying, unless she's protecting her cub. In that instance in Chicago, she was not protecting her cub. She was protecting her stance as a person, her stance to tell him to be told. In Brazil, they don't operate like that. If they know they're in that environment, they're going to step back and say, okay, you got it. Let me get my food and leave. Let me get my food and leave. This is up and down. I know you guys don't agree with me using this analogy. Cool, I can use many analogies for this. But do they think that they are the feminine versus the masculine, the patriarchy versus the... Nah, those men in Brazil still run it, even the men that have less than.
Right. It don't have nothing to do with being a high, quote unquote, high value man. And a lot of women give women in the West bad advice because I did a show Brazil called Black Love Without Consent. Women in other countries become what black men need to, or men need them to become. Here in the West, women think they can tell black men or men what they deserve. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Right. Because Because in those countries, you need a man. You need a man bad, or you get left behind. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So they got us placed on an agenda, in my opinion. Again, I'm only speaking from my conjecture, what I've studied with a lot of guys. See, here's the difference.
Yes,
I may
sir.
not be a clinician like you, and I respect the work that you do,
Yes,
but
sir.
I get hands-on interaction with these men on a
No
daily.
doubt. Yes,
right?
sir. Yes,
Men
sir.
calling me, men emailing me by the thousand per year. If I was to quantify how many guys I've spoken to per year, it would be in the tens of thousands. So if all of these guys have spoken to me, they speak to you, they speak to anybody else, whether it is dietary systems, whether it is relational aspects of their makeup or what they're going through in life, whether it is spiritual. I don't care where it is, whether they talk to you or not. We have platforms. You have the licenses and everything around it. You have the certification and licenses around it. I don't have those. The only thing I can go off is who I talk to, my experiences, my interactions, and actually calculate those interactions on paper. I might not put the names of the guys, but I have books, hundreds of notebooks that have lots of information in them. And do I delve in those notebooks? Yes. Because just because I'm not certified or just because I didn't go to a university doesn't mean that I can't add to the philosophical arguments on all
yes.
these relationships.
I agree with you.
That.
Yes, sir. I agree with you.
So
You're right.
with all of that being said, with all of and all of the calculations I've made on my own accord, I'm saying, like, strictly, I'm saying that we have to have a polarity. We have to have a difference. We can't call each other equal. We can't have these occurrences. We can't have these outbursts. We can't have women think that their lack of critical thinking is the way that we should go in the United States of America. And dudes should follow suit. I disagree with that vehemently. I vehemently disagree with that, and I'll disagree with that from years to come. There should be the way men operate, how they've been for thousands of years. We're just gonna say, we're gonna throw that out the window. We're gonna just throw men out the window and pull women forward. You're operating from a dangerous scope when you do that. You're operating from a dangerous scope. And I understand the proverbial, the men should lead and women should follow and all of that. No, it has to go beyond that. The more we increase our standards as far as intellectual prowess, and the more we add the AIs in this, the more we're going to lose us thinking in our realms, us understanding things in our realms. The three things that I mentioned on my show on YouTube earlier was the three things to creative thinking: question, analyze, evaluate, in order for you to draw a conclusion. We seem to only have one of those things.
Question, analyze, evaluate. Right, I like that.
We only seem to have one of those things. The thing that we only seem to have in that whole is this, which is not part of any of that, which is sort of. If you critically think, sort of. So the only thing we have is opinion. That's the only thing we lead to. Let me Google something first and then give my opinion. Not that we say, okay, well, let me come back to that. I've never heard a live stream. In my opinion, I've never heard a live stream, whether it's men or women. Specifically, men seem to make more sense on these live streams than women. In my opinion, from what I've been listening to. But it seems that we lead with opinion first. Nobody ever says, well, I don't know anything about that. Let me come back to that. They never say, well, I don't know. Just say you don't know. But we seem to have all of these know-it-alls on the internet. And then the digital age, anybody can be something. And we see that's leading to what women are doing. We see that's men, we're going to call them to the carpet. We're going to be like, yo, we know who you are. His homeboy going to come online and say, yo, I know who this dude is. But with women, we seem to have, yo, you got to leave her alone. Yo, you can't call her out. You can't put her out there. And I don't think that's right for society to have. We going into that direction, that paradigm, and that realm of thinking, that's going to crush us as men. So men, I'm saying men, keep doing your thing. Keep calling these women out. Keep making points.
Right.
But bring a critical thought behind it. a critical way to present your argument behind it. That way it can't be refuted. The reason why people love, RIP to him, Kevin Samuels, I might not have listened to him, and I felt he was against Passport Bros at the time, which I felt
agree.
he was.
I agree. He was.
He never mentioned us. He knew who he was. He knew we were growing, and he never mentioned us.
Right.
So
I totally agree.
with that, the reason why he was
But he did change. He was beginning to change Brazil.
Well, he never mentioned us. He knew we existed. He saw my videos online. People was like, oh, well, how do you know? My videos went viral in January of last year. All of these videos I mentioned that did 300,000 views, 600,000 views. Even in his personal life, people are mentioning him. He's with one of the Passport Bros that you played earlier, which is what's the attorney? You played him.
Dennis Sperling.
Dennis Sperling. He was with Dennis Sperling. So he had those conversations with him, but he still refused to mention us. I critically think about this. I don't just use my feelings about this. No, let's question the
I respect that.
So it's not to knock him. It's not to talk ill of the dead. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm never.
No. You're not doing that. No, you're not at all. I think his marketing brand was trying to keep couples here in America, but I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you, Brazil. But if he was alive, and rest in peace to that brother, I would vehemently disagree with him because but as he was getting closer to his demise, God bless his soul, he was beginning to tell men, to black men, he said, men, explore your options. I think he was beginning to see that even though he never publicly acknowledged the passport movement, he was beginning to see that it was a viable option. Because I saw a couple of videos when he began to talk about it. But you are correct. His branding, his marketing was for here. And and
as a business guy, like being in small little business, right? I understand that. I understand from a business aspect, it would have ruined his brand. It would have ruined his brand. It would have, people would have left, and it wouldn't have been no more gravitation to Kevin Samuels except the men. Right,
You're exactly right. You're right. I agree with you 100%. Right,
and that's what I get. But for guys to come out and say, "Yo, he just agreed with us," I said, "Show me a video. Show me a video in concrete."
He didn't disagree.
Do it hearsay.
He
Show
didn't
me a video. And
he didn't disagree.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So for me, the reason why they respected him, and let me go back to this point. The reason why they respected him, because he didn't give conjecture. He gave his points on percentages. He gave his points on, let me bring this information. He gave his points on the CDC. The most abusive people in the United States of America are women. Just look at that, what they do to men and how men never, the CDC did, he did his information on that and he presented it to the public. That's why he was so pertinent. That's why he was so, I don't want to use that word because we use it as street terms, but that's why he was so good at what he did, because he brought the information. He brought them up. Whether people ask him, where did he get that from? He knew that divorces were happening at an 80% rate. So he knew that was happening. So he said, let me bring that information. And that's why, and again, he sat back, he said, he questioned, again, the same thing how he critically thought. Question, analyze, and evaluate.
Right.
Kevin Samuels was good at. The reason why these guys are not good as Kevin Samuels and who's still in the manosphere, who's still in whatever you're saying, the reason why they're not good, they don't operate like that. They operate from opinions more so than critically thinking. So when they do run into a woman that's sharp and on top of her game, they run into a, that's why they'll get eaten up. Women will eat them up because they don't want to get the coaching. They don't say, well, who coached Kevin Samuels? Let me get those coaches. No, I got it all. I know it all. You see what I'm saying? And Kevin Samuels didn't operate like that. Behind the scenes, he had guys that he will go to. He'll listen to certain channels or on the manosphere. He might have not given you guys props. And I understand that. And guys feel a certain type of way, like, man, but he stole what I was saying. I get that. People have stolen from me throughout the years. People have went on my channel and regurgitating this passport game.
Yes, sir.
They have regurgitated everything I've said for all of these years and passed it off as if it's their own.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I don't respect. And
I totally agree. Right.
Did they do that to him?
Right.
Yeah. Did he do that to others? Yes, because he had a bigger channel, so he could get away with it. But did he also give people their props, like Obsidian, like what's the older guy that he always gave, who came into my chat not too long ago? What's the
You're talking about BGS Itmore?
BGS. He gave BGS his props.
He did.
And that's why I give O'Shea his props for putting us on, and that's why I give Black Ram his props. Shout out to Black Ram.
Shout out to Black Ram. Right,
Yeah.
and I meant to say Black Ram too. Black Ram was never so capable, pretty much no manosphere, but Black Ram was he's real peel. Black Ram is my brother. Black Ram is real peel. And he basically saying, you know, I'm the real peel. So basically, he was one of the brothers to start the conversation. Him, Barbarossa, and then, you know, the Angry Man, one of the three pillars of spaces. And it's constantly morphing. Some men disassociate themselves from the space because the manosphere is broad. It's really no leader. It's a coalescing of different ideas, Brazil Yeesh, from different stratas and different backgrounds. We got PhDs, you got therapists like myself. But I would say because of your hands-on experience, you're very intellectual. And you know, if I could, I'll give you an honorary doctorate. Yeah, I'm gonna give you an honorary doctorate, man. I'm gonna give you an honorary doctorate, man.
Culture. I'm thinking about going to school just to grab that. I'm thinking about doing it. I'm thinking about going just to grab it and just to say I have it. It's not going to mean anything because all the books I wrote 24 books. And most of those books are, so I'm just going to grab it just to have it.
Right. You're a brilliant brother in your own right, man. You're very brilliant. You're very intellectually savvy. And a lot of times in academia, because of your experience, sometimes they will award you an honorary doctorate. So Black Ram is definitely real peel. But we all are similar than we are different. We just might go into different banners. Like Blue Book Gentlemen, in my opinion, is the bougie Passport Brothers. The Passport Bros is just a broad term that encompasses many men. And so I got nothing but love and respect for you, man. You're an intellectual brother. When I reached out to you, you showed me love. And
always you the truth, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I hear you talking. I always say you the truth, man.
Oh yeah. But we
your new name ain't kosherclinician. We gotta cancel that. You the truth. Yo, stop calling him kosherclinician. Call him the truth.
The truth. No doubt, man. And I love these conversations, man, because it's elevating men to higher levels of thinking. There are so many that came in this space not understanding what it was about. That's why women don't need to be in men's spaces in general unless they support and represent and replicate our mission. They can have an opinion, but every time women come into men's spaces, man, they try to subvert and more or less take credit and change it to what they think it should be.
Culture, can I please step in here, please?
Yes, sir.
Please,
go ahead, brother.
Listen, let me tell you what women have done to men throughout eons of time.
Yes, sir.
What they do is, for instance, let me give you IE, and I can give many examples, and this is in my book, right, called Critical Thinking. My book out right now that I just released 2 to 3 days ago. It's called Critical Thinking. Don't be dim, D-I-M. Don't be dim. Don't dim your light, your intellectual light for anybody on the internet or anywhere. And I'm dealing with my philosophies behind that, right? And again, this book is very powerful. I got lots of sales today. Salute to everybody that's purchased the book. And kosherclinician, he can get the book and rip it apart. That's cool with me. But or he can agree with some stuff that I'm saying in there. But I delved into this. What women have known to do throughout time, and the WNBA is the example of this. Women are known, and we talk about this modern day. We don't even need to go back thousands of years. Women have known in the WNBA, men will back them. Men will give them credit. Men will uplift them. Then they'll throw men aside. Historically, they'll throw men aside and say, no, we did it all ourselves.
Right.
And that's exactly what they're trying to implement in 2023. That's why they don't want me to speak. That's why most of these feminists, when I worked in Atlanta last year, I had a job in the United States of America last year. They called my job. They said, listen, we want him canceled. We want him stopped. And I'm like, who? Who was calling? The corporate office got in touch with me and said, yo, this guy has to be stopped. We got to silence him because he doesn't operate how all of these other guys operate. Guys in the United States of America are still dating. I don't date no women in the United States of America, even if I was there, right? Dating. Again, I don't want to have it. I don't have not one child in the United States of America. Cool. If I have children overseas, I'll do that all day, right?
Yes, sir.
But I don't have children, not one child in the United States of America, right? I've never been married, and I don't care for that. So they could go back to my wife and say, who was this guy? Who was it? They don't know who I dated or who I married. And if a woman come out, I'm going to say, nope, it wasn't her. I don't know her, right? And she can't prove that she knew me, right? And I can't prove that I know her, right? So I haven't dated them. And I brought this on to say, anytime men, I don't care where it is, I don't care if it's a religious realm, I don't care if it's in spiritual realm, I don't care if it's in academia, I don't care, wherever it's at, the new women is to take credence and credit for them as women and make men obsolete. So as we see the Black Lives Matter, who funded that? They don't care about the funding. All you know is the Black Lives Matter was started by a particular group of women, well, 3 individuals, as they say, right? But you don't know who funded it. It was a man that funded this. Who started women to becoming the realtors that they were? It was men. Who put women in these corporate offices, in these positions in these corporate companies? It was men. But the men never get the credit for it. You know who they give it? To other women. They say, no, men didn't help us. It was other women. Who started the whole fashion industry and models and all? It was gay men. But the gay men, so all of these industries, I don't care if it's in music, I don't care if it's in religion, I don't care. It was men to, even to this day, men that start something. The lady who said he's a munch, she's out right now. The girl that went crazy on TikTok, the light-skinned lady who went crazy on TikTok, she's a munch. Spice, whatever her name is, Spice. Guess why she went and started getting popping on the internet? It was because of a man. The man said, "Okay, I'm going to blow you up." And guess what? Guess who blew her up years ago? It was a man. But they say, "Oh, you did it on your own." She can't sing a lick, and they say, "Yo, you did it on your own." So men have done this. They've known for men to start them, push them, get them popping, and say, "Nope, we're going to remove the fact that men started us. It was all women." And if you guys keep putting women on these platforms, you did that with the lady who went viral. Y'all start bringing her on. Now she got 1 million subs.
Right.
Y'all start doing that to her. Now she's 1 million subs. She's good. She's over there in Europe living and all of these other places. You guys do this to women. Can I be honest with you, Kosher Clinician, and all your audience? I think that you guys have such an affinity for women in the low rung of society, the low end of society. Not to say that you're low, your mentality is low. Your mentality is low. So you put and gravitate to the low end of society. So you put your connection to them, this unbreakable connection. And what you do is you inadvertently, you put women on a pedestal and don't even know you're doing it. I never knew a group, an organization, or a group of people who put their let's just call them what they are, they're ladies of the night on pedestals to speak for a whole community.
Right. But I don't do that. I've never done that.
No.
But I do agree with you. No. You're right. But I agree with you. You are 1,000,000% correct.
They don't say
you are 1,000,000% correct.
They don't
right,
say,
bro.
well, yes, he's an intellectual. He don't entertain. He don't do none of that. All he does is think. Let's put him on a pedestal. No, they'll go get a prostitute that say, okay, I got all this information, all of this knowledge, and I know it all, and put them on a pedestal. They'll get a dude that has destroyed their communities and say, no, let's put him on a pedestal.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
This is the difference with all of these factions. So the women know you guys do that. So the first thing that they do, they say, okay, well, we can notice what all of these cultures, they say, let's go into the bottom barrel of society. Let's get them the biggest up. Miley Cyrus didn't go to the suburbs. She didn't go to intellectuals. She went to the booty shaking, twerking women and said, let them put me on, and then I'm gonna absolve myself from them. Women do this all the time, but they do this to men more so. So you guys gotta know they playing with your guys' minds. And you're right. Critical thinking, I agree with you, brother.
I agree with you, brother. And everything you're saying, because we're about to go down the rabbit hole, Brazil. Let's
go. Let's go.
But you and I are similar, man. You said some things I always say because I am a licensed professional. We talk about the vitality of collaborative empiricism. Exactly. It basically means let's look at the evidence. Let's see if the proclamation lines up with the evidence. And so I consider you a very highly intelligent brother. You're a water sign, so you're an air sign. So you're an air sign. So when you and I come together, it's a combustion. You and Dre, you know, I get turbocharged when I get around you, Brazil. So, you know, I ain't got nothing but love for you, man. You flow just like my man Dre from Love Crossing Borders. And I think I want to bring you back this week. We got a powerful show coming up. But in the meantime, guys, go get your tickets from the Black Manosphere Conclave. Black men are beginning to evolve. We're beginning to change lives. Go get your tickets, guys.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
Brazil, we're about to go down the rabbit hole. It's time to get to the meat of the subject. And you're going to see, Brazil, Yeesh, that iron sharpens iron, and we actually think similar. So it's time to go down the rabbit hole. Take mental notes, Brazil, because you said some things I've always said. And let's go.
I'm ready. Down the rabbit hole we go. This is the part of the show where we assess, examine, collaborate.
Assess, examine, collaborate. You see the parallel? All right, man. So I'm going to show you something, Brazil. This woman is, she got detained in Brazil. And we're going to talk about the laws of engagement and how people need, how women need to move abroad because they don't have the same liberties abroad like they have here in America. They don't have those same liberties. So let's break this thing down about this woman that was detained in Dubai and what this means to women in the West that travel. Hold tight.
Fox 26's Dominique Keith joining us live near downtown Houston with why she's being held. Dominique.
Well, the crime she's charged with may surprise you, and Dubai is increasingly becoming a vacation spot for a number of Houston women. One who's there right now, according to her social media page, is trying to get back to the Bayou City, but according to her mom, her passport has been confiscated because she was charged with screaming in public.
It also could result in prison time. So it's very scary.
The trip turned terrifying for Tiara Young Allen when her mom says she was a passenger in a friend's rental car and they got into an accident there in Dubai.
Is it fair to say that the West have conditioned women to be lawless, Brazil Yeesh? Is that fair to say?
Repeat that.
I say, is it fair to say that the West have conditioned American women to be lawless or to not be accountable? Is that fair to say?
Oh, that's fair to say. They said it's free ball game, and if you look at, I just want, to me, in my opinion, it's plausible to say because when you think about this, think about a chessboard, right? You got pawns everywhere. You got pawns everywhere in the beginning. They make the first move many of the times, right? Mm-hmm. And when you got a group of women who are put in position, right? Again, put in position to move a little differently, but they still think like the pawns, like your favorite stars that Alicia Keys, Beyonce, and all of these people, not necessarily them. I'm talking about the mindset, so not necessarily them. I'm talking about how people operate. So if you got women that can make moves and still think like these particular women and say it's okay and big them up and try to mimic these women that are considered the pawns of society, you got destruction that is known to happen, and you can never win on your side with that. For instance, the rook is a rook for a reason. The rook is a rook and able to make a certain amount of moves, right? It's given the authority to make a certain amount of moves. Well, why would the rook try to become the pawn? Why would the bishop try to become the pawn? Why would why would the horse try to become the pawn? These people move like this. The people in society move like this, and they big this up in songs. They big this up in media. They big this up. When you got a star, an A-list celebrity, trying to go to an elegant event, trying to twerk, that means she has the same mindset as the pawns on the chessboard. She only got that one move. She only got that one move. She only got that one move. No matter what position they're in, they operate as if they have them. Now, the horse doesn't operate; it operates in an L shape. It again, the rook operates in a certain way, straight. The bishop operates diagonally or whatever. Whatever piece operates in its own facet, that's what it does. But when you got the people that's supposed to protect, people that's supposed to grow the game, to get you to the win, when they operate from a one move or operate on their first move, they can move 2 spots up. You can't win in society like that. So the green light, they say, yo, no matter how you are, you're supposed to present this up. When you got people in Congress who bigging up Megan Thee Stallion, who bigging up Cardi B, who bigging up all of these things, they on the same mental level, no matter what position they're in. They put in a different position. And in my book, the critical thinking book, I'm discussing this and breaking it down better than what I'm doing here. But you got these people in different positions, but they still operating like a pawn chess piece, a chess piece of a pawn. That is a dangerous way to go. So if they're operating like that, if they not only mimic them, they're going to do that in as a whole, the way these women think. So these women have been given a green light in these lower parts of society. They said, yo, you could be up in a man's face, you could cuss him out. Look at Boosie's daughter. Boosie's daughter came out cussing her father out, saying all type of egregious stuff about her own father today. The video dropped. Bootsy had it, no matter how he speaks, no matter how you say, well, you grew up in that environment. Again, look what so if you got these people, look at Floyd Mayweather's daughter. Floyd Mayweather's daughter just at a young age dropping a baby. Not even married, not concerned with it. Nothing, again, this ain't the knock with Floyd Mayweather or anybody like that. I'm talking about these examples. You got these particular examples of these women that have been given a green light on society, not only in their emotionalism, not only in their emotional outbursts, where they don't even respect police. How you don't even respect law enforcement?
Right, they don't.
Come around and they unhinge in front of law enforcement. So what do you think they're going to do to you behind closed doors? And when you got nation of women who try to mimic that, when you got, again, this is the chess move, what I explained, how these women have the right to move differently. Oprah got the right to move differently, but still mimic herself. Beyonce got the right to move differently. All of these people but they have an affinity. They have a liking. They take a mental connection to the pawn, which is absurd, but they do. So if they've been given that green light to think like that on all different levels of women in the United States of America, how do you think all of them going to come together? That's why you see these guys, you see these women and these housewives be married to NBA players who don't operate like that and can't control themselves, outbursts, throwing glass at each other, trying to harm each other. Society has given them the green light. Society is given, and they say, well, we'll take you up on that green light. So that's why you have that occurrence because when you become unhinged, who's going to hinge you back? Who's going to hinge you accept your liberties?
Right.
So that means we have to take women's liberties in order for them to become normal, for them to become cordial, for them to become civilized citizens. But in the United States, when women can get away with a woman having a baby with a 13-year-old boy,
Yes,
and
sir.
she had no jail time in the United States of
Right.
America.
Yes, sir.
And you
No
calling
accountability.
these equal? So when you have this, we got to get into the whole paradigm. We could get into this rabbit hole, but this is all going down the rabbit hole. And you say, why? Yes, I can answer that. But go ahead.
No doubt. Let's finish playing this.
In Dubai, Tina Baxter says when her daughter went to the company to retrieve her ID, credit card, and other items left in the rental, Baxter says it did not go well.
She found out that she could only receive those items if she paid an undisclosed amount of money. She dealt with a very aggressive individual, a young man there who was screaming at her.
Baxter says her 29-year-old daughter ultimately yelled back at the rental car agent, she says, resulting in her being charged for screaming there in Dubai.
And so she is in jail for one reason and one reason alone. She raised her voice. In that country, a female is not even allowed to raise her voice. If she raises her voice, it's punishable by jail time.
It's been very emotional. There are some days I stay up all night crying.
They have a strict law system that is really based on theocracy.
This website warns, quote, laws and customs are very different, so...
And you know, Brazil, Arab countries are predicated on a theocracy. In the Hebrew, in Genesis, it said that she will have a desire for her husband, but he will rule over her. And American men, American women have it made. And American men have gotten too soft because they compromise their power. And when they hear men speak with power and conviction, they call you all kinds of names, Brazil Yeesh, because they've never seen the true manifestation of masculinity. American women are protected and American men are so oppressed. But once black men and white men get outside of the West, then when they get in theocratic countries like Dubai or whatever, or in those Islamist countries, the women, they fall in line. They have no other choice but to respect their men. And actually, all folks fall in line in those countries.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, they all fall in line, men or women, right? Because again, they respect order. Order, when there's no order, there's chaos.
Yes.
And as we see in the United States of America, we see that occurring right now. Because once you're giving a woman a green light that she can do no wrong, you are to absolve her from shame and place it on men. You have a society of men that pull back and allow women to do everything. And then the men that were raised under the arms, the thumbs of the foot of these women now come out and protect them for their outbursts, that's all you see online. Think about this, in a digital age, they're okay. It's the thing called disinhibition effect. This one, anybody can get on the internet and be anybody. This is where it started from. This is where it started from, because a lot of these people couldn't operate like this 20 years ago, 10 years ago. They started operating like this online first, on MySpace and these platforms. You start getting these belligerent, out of control people, and you're like, but if they online, they're acting out of control, they belligerent, they unhinged mentally. So eventually it's going to spill out into the streets. That's what they know. So this inhibition effect means that somebody can get online. They can be under an avatar, or under a pseudonym, or under whatever they feel that there are no consequences behind their actions and what they do online, their activity online. So they'll be belligerent, they'll be vicious, they'll be any day. They think nobody can find it. That's why people begin the doxing thing years ago, to find out who these people are in particular. And so now you got that effect. So after that, then people say, well, okay, well, I've been that online and I got away with it. Now I can do it in the streets. Now I can do it in the streets because my family corroborates this by allowing me to do it, not checking me. And I said the first people that started feminism, the first people that let women get away unchecked, or anyone, period, unchecked, were men. And people say, yes, how is that possible? How is that possible? Think about this. There's a video on Netflix called Pinky Blinders. And as you see, one of their sisters, they controlled the town with some of the most ruthless, vicious killing and all of that. And unaliving. They did that, unaliving or anything like that. They did that on this show. And their sister, she became unhinged. It meant she could walk around and do. And if you were to touch her sister, knowing that she is out of pocket, they would jump on you, they would harm you, they would unalive you, or something would be done to your family. Just think about this. So there was mayors. Think about the mayors who had daughters, who had nieces, who would protect them, even though they know they were unhinged. The doctors, the politicians, the men. Again, it boils back down to men were the ones to allow their daughters, their nieces, their cousins, to become unhinged, and they protected them away from being belligerent because that's their family. They got to protect family, not knowing that it was going to destroy society.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. I agree with that. But see, I never, I used to always tell folks, man, I don't get caught in that girl dad crap. I got 3 girls loving to death. But I say, if your ass get out of line, you can get this work. I don't go by that girl dad mask, because what you're doing, you're teaching your daughters to undermine the authority of her future husband instead of teaching her to affirm the authority of her future husband. And that's what a lot of these men do, because they get mesmerized by this, because that's my little girl, that's my baby. But they don't understand that in order for that woman to become sustainable and to respect her husband, because the woman was made for the man, they don't understand that men have been so conditioned, Brazil Yeesh, to the point they call each other partners. You don't hear men, correct me if I'm wrong, men and women calling each other partners in Brazil. I mean, unless they're gay.
Absolutely not. They say esposa.
Esposa. Yes, yes,
wife.
Yes, sir. Esposa. Yes, sir. You're right. But men compromise their power by getting into these egalitarian relationships. But then on the flip side, the women still expect them to be traditional when it benefits them. And that's why instead of having a centrality of thought, you have a decentrality of thought, and the men are constantly sabotaging their power. But I want to finish playing this, and then we're gonna get to your video about how this woman and so many like Rebecca Lynn Pope was telling, or more or less espousing, black women to date white men, not understanding that white men, a lot of them see black women as just a fetish until they get sick of them. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Be aware of your actions to ensure they don't offend while in United Arab Emirates. Now, after Baxter says her daughter was charged with screaming in Dubai, her passport has been taken, and the American social media influencer who works as a truck driver can't leave the UAE, according to her mom. And her mom says she's been placed under a travel ban pending the outcome of the investigation.
It's very frightening. The longer she's been there, the more reality has started to kick in.
In our opinion, she did not commit a crime. Don't punish women for doing the same thing a man can do in Dubai. It's not fair and it's not right.
Now, the 29-year-old does now have...
But what this sim don't understand, before you answer, let this marinate. But what this sim don't understand, he just said Dubai is a theocracy where the men set the rules, the men rule, and the women fall in line. So you can't take a Western mindset and apply it to a theocracy that you just talked about. That sounds foolish to me, but hold tight.
Have an attorney there in Dubai, and her mom says she's told that she could face jail time because there is surveillance video of her screaming. Now, we have reached out to the U.S. and the UAE embassies. Will government officials step in and give her assistance? I'm still awaiting responses. Reporting live near downtown.
Terrifying for a Houston woman who we're told is being detained in Dubai. Fox 26's Dominique Keith joining us live near downtown Houston with why she's being held. Dominique.
Well, the crime she's charged with may surprise you, and Dubai is increasingly becoming a vacation spot for a number of Houston women. One who's there right now, according to her social media page, is trying to get back to the Bayou City, but according to her mom, her passport has been confiscated because she was charged with screaming in public.
It also could result in prison time.
We just saw that part. Hold tight.
Have y'all heard about the girl, the Houston woman who was detained in Dubai?
You guys never do research. She didn't scream at him. She rose her voice. If you go back and you watch the video, because Quantel Jackson is in it, because what happened was she got into an accident. Then after the accident, her things were taken from her that were left in a car that she got into an accident, like her phone or her stuff, whatever. And so what happened was when one of the men didn't return her stuff and got aggressive with her and screamed at her. She rose her voice, and then they called the cops on her. That is what happened. I couldn't stitch the video, the screen recording of that video in here because TikTok got rid of green screen video. But please do your research. I do not want false information about this fellow black woman to be spread that she went and was acting ghetto in Dubai when that's not what happened.
All right. So Brazil, let's talk about the ethics of world travel and understanding the appropriation of culture. Is it fair to say that men have more power outside of this very toxic ecosystem?
You said men have power
outside of this current toxic ecosystem. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I mean, passport travel. That's what I mean.
Yeah. I think so. I think is evident. I think the way that women operate. I think the occurrences. I think the news that we see happening. I think that guys that I see walking around South America. I've been to Peru. I've been to many of these African guys. I've been to Cuba. I've been to, and it still has a hold on many places that I've gone to. So it's like I appreciate it. Now her situation with the car situation, she waited a whole day to get her stuff. So they took the car, they impounded it, and they waited an entire day for her to grab her stuff, in her words. And when she went there, she said he was being rude. But again, there's video to show the different sides of it. And she said that the guy followed her outside, and he was trying to intimidate her, and she was being very scared. That's what the police were called. He was trying to intimidate you to get a reaction from you. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't going to bother you, wasn't going to touch you, he wasn't going to do anything to you. He was trying to get a reaction out of you, and it worked. Mm-hmm. Because he knew you were entitled. He knew that you were going to be triggered by something that he's saying. Right. So instead of, again, the same direct incident happened to me in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And the same incident, and I'm 6'7", and this shorter guy was like coming at me hard. Didn't care about my American status, didn't care. He just wanted what he wanted. In order for me to cooperate, and I'm talking about belligerent, and I speak Portuguese. She don't speak Arabic, but I speak Portuguese. And I understood everything he was saying, be very belligerent, going crazy on me. And I kept calm no matter how much he was coming up close to me, no matter how much he was, kept going. You say, well, that's a woman. Okay, well, what was it going for me to be calm as a man and for her to be coming back at him as a woman? Mm-hmm. How is that going to work out for her, as we see now? Right. So people can say what they want. They could try to flip it and spin it. I'm smart enough to see what you guys are doing. You can't say, well, he was coming at her. How was she going to defend her? She felt unsafe. I felt unsafe, but I still kept my composure. Well, that's her. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. So when you go to these different countries, me as a man, I said, listen, I'm going to talk to you, and you're going to let me talk to you, and you're going to listen to me, and I'll have a counter for what you're saying calmly. And it worked. Mm-hmm. It worked because I kept my cool. No matter how belligerent he was, I kept my cool. And now every time this guy see me, he's smiling from ear to ear. You see what I'm saying? And not necessarily it's going to work in her case out like that, the outcome, but it would have been a lot better for her keeping her composure, let him get it out. And that's what, you know what the crazy part about it? That's what femininity does.
That's
a feminine woman.
Right, a feminine woman,
kept her cool no matter what.
Right.
She would have kept her composure no matter what. That's how you know there's a difference between feminine women and contrived femininity. Contrived femininity means they put it together and they force it to come together, but it's not genuine. It doesn't last. It's fleeting. It's fleeting.
It's fake. It's fake femininity.
Yeah, it's fake. It's fictitious. It's fraudulent. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. So for guys to understand, contrived femininity and true femininity would have she would have kept her composure overseas. She would have looked at him like a woman like Claire Huxtable. There's women out here, I met them. Women out here that, so again, they're rare and slim to none, but they're out there. But she would have kept her composure, She would give an example to women in that country. She should have studied the women in that country and did her Googles, as they say. You better do your Googles because I'm writing this conversation. You're wrong. She should have did her Googles and see how the women operate, how they keep their composure in a place like Dubai, because they know the occurrences, what can happen. So this is what I'm saying. So are there still places where men have that power element behind masculinity and able to go there and live there and men get along peaceably? Yes, they are.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to my man Top Gun again for the 2. He said election time. Potato Head might try to flex.
Hello, lucky person.
Mike. Well, Brazil, we're going to look at this video real quick, man. I'm going to let you go, man. You've been an excellent guest. I love talking to you. And thank you for being so gracious with your time. I really appreciate it. But I'm going to look at this video you did. It was an excellent video about this
2
woman.
weeks since my husband abandoned me.
And she, Rebecca Lynn Pope, Brazil Yeesh, was telling black women to go get with a white man because she said the black men are in a crisis. She said that these women are so fake in these spaces, man. They flip-flop when it's beneficial. When Kevin Samuels was alive, Rebecca Lynn Pope was an acolyte, but then once he died, now she's saying, because she was talking about how difficult black women are, but then when he died and as time went on, now she changed position and said that, your black men are alphabet, black men that don't go to school, black women that getting degrees, and I'm like, woman, what you don't damn understand, men are not moved by your goofy degrees. I mean, I'm not nullifying degrees because I'm highly educated, but I don't look at a woman's degrees unless I'm a classist, unless I came from a family of wealth and prestige. Men look at femininity, how they conduct themselves, if they haven't been ran through. We look at those things, but we don't ask men Brazil Yeesh what they want. We never ask men what they want. We just assume what they want. So we're gonna look at this surgical execution. And I thought about you, and I'm glad you came on. I said I'm gonna use this clip, but you got a lot of views off this, and I want to give you your props on it. So we're gonna break it down together.
And today I woke up to an Uber notification. Because I told you guys he left the country, right? So when you take an Uber at home, it just says Uber, but when you take an Uber, let's just say for shits and giggles, in Brazil, it'll say Uber Brazil.
I keep telling y'all, those are the 3 countries that'll make you leave your wife or girlfriend. Thailand, Colombia, and Brazil. And look what she mentioned. Yo, my man left his whole marriage. It must be greener on the other side. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to the Blue Book gentlemen, aka Passport Bros. I'm gonna let the clip play, all the clips, but they went through a divorce and you'll see the story.
I was referred to you. I was hoping you could help me out. I'm looking to end my marriage. I've been married for 6 years, together for 20 with my husband, who recently left, and he's no longer in the country and has abandoned the relationship. So I would like to proceed with attempting to sell the home that we share together and move on, and I was hoping that you could help me with that. My phone number is... Thank you. Bye. So depressed. I unfollowed him.
So Brazil, she went from flexing. Hold on, Brazil. She went from flexing, Brazil Yeesh, to getting what Smeagol got from the Lord of the Rings. She got a schema affliction. She went from flexing, Brazil, to getting a schema affliction. Yeah, Brazil, she went from flexing it to a schema affliction because she thought that she can control her man, but now that maladaptive thought is finally settling in, and the fear is also kicking in because the maladaptive thought is now my husband is gone, and the fear is that I can't get a man. And see, that's what arrogance and hubris does, or arrogance/hubris. It teaches the women that they're better than their men. And it's a bad thing when Brad decides to leave the black woman, because some flex when they get white zaddy. But Brad left this woman. And we're going to finish playing parts of this video, and we're going to break it down in a minute. Hold tight.
I'm on Instagram because I don't want to see his new life. Like, I just feel like that would be too painful. but curiosity killed the cat. And I went and looked at his page today. And he changed his profile picture to a picture of him lying on a beach. Like, he's just out here living life, like, without a care in the world. Like, he doesn't even care. Maybe he never cared. You know what I mean?
What happens, Brazil Yeesh? When you starve them of attention and stop caring, man. Tell the audience what happens, brother.
Y'all can't help but laugh. I was on mute, cracking up, bro.
She had a schema affliction, man.
Yo, that's crazy. That's a psychological. That's a crazy schema affliction. Yeah. But yo, the crazy part about it is, when you look at the transition, you look how she was operating in all her other videos, because you guys got to go look at her channel. And you realize how she was operating on all her other videos to go from that to this. It's like crazy, and it drove her mad. But I think he was right to do this, because picture what he was suffering from. Just think about what he was afflicted upon.
That's
all
right.
Her outbursts, all her, all of the stuff that we don't see. Right. And you titled it a schema affliction, but think about all of the other undiagnosed terms that we can use for. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you know, ego-syntonia means the ego thinks what it's doing is normal. And I'm about to show you, Brazil, and that's normally predicated in a condition called delusion. She was singing that song by Harold Melvin, the Blue Notes, the whole world laughing at me, silly fool. That's what she was singing with a glass of wine. Because what delusion does, a delusional person think that what they're feeling is right. Delusional people laugh at the truth. Delusional people mock the truth. Delusional people don't think they have a problem. But a man that's going to do ego-syntonia, he doesn't like the way that he feels. And so this woman went from ego dystonia to ego syntonia, where she began to now realize reality hits her, and now she don't have a man because she lacked the feminine decorum to keep her mouth shut, like so many women in the West. And that's why men don't understand we have more power, Brazil, than we realize. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Hold tight.
Maybe he never cared. Maybe I was just a meal ticket. Convenient. He's legit just lying on a beach without a care in the world. So the boy, I don't know if I told you guys this already, but he left me, but he actually left the country. Like, it's literal abandonment. So I'm just stuck here with, you know, the house, the mortgage, the car, the this, the that, which has both our names on it, but he said deuces. So I need to figure it out. So I'm gonna go speak to a lawyer today and put my big girl panties on and try to clean up this mess that he left me in.
Brazil, it's a bad thing for Brad saying, you know what, enough is enough. You know, because most Brads are liberal. But it's a bad thing when an American woman, black or white, but in this case, a black woman, is so obtuse that the white man say, I got enough of this ish. What's your response to that?
Yeah, because again, they were put on a pedestal. Those are the guys that they picked up. Those are the guys that they actually excelled. And again, they're merely possessing something internally that's wrong with them. As a possession of discomfort, who they are, as a possession of dislike of who they are. So it results in that. But now we know a lot of these guys that I meet who go overseas, many of these guys who are non-black guys are very level-headed. They're very level-headed. The guys that I meet are very level-headed, black or white, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. And for him to not want to be around her and not want to interact with her, it had to be something highly, let's just say it's something, again, allegedly off about what she was doing around him or to him. So for a guy to get to that level, that extent, and she claimed that he was the breadwinner, and it'll come out in another video. So for him to actually want to leave the bread, notice what I'm saying. Men don't usually leave the bread. Men want to get to the bread and keep going and keep maintaining and put a little aside and build up their own selves. But for him to want to leave the money and go somewhere else, that's telling you that she's not all there.
Yeah, it's obvious that she is that she's not all there, and like I said, she about to sing that song, "The Whole World Laughing at Me."
Yo, you guys, like, can you guys believe this? Because I really can't believe this. That is my life right now. If it wasn't for my girls, my friends, my family, I would have probably jumped off a bridge. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, literally, I would have ended it all because this is a lot. It's a lot. He did me dirty. He did me really dirty, but I love him. I miss him. I want him. But, I mean, he made his choice, right? You can't force somebody to want you back. Today was a hard day, but I'm so glad that I have my girls here. Two weeks since my husband abandoned me. And today I woke up to an Uber notification. Because I told you guys he left the country, right? So you know when you take an Uber at home, it just says Uber, but when you take an Uber, let's just say for shits and giggles, in Brazil, it'll say Uber Brazil. That's connected to my business account, sir. Are you on a fucking business trip? Are you okay? Does your new not have Uber? Yo, this man just ruined my whole morning with that. Last week he wanted to message me asking me if I changed the Netflix password. Yo, you up and abandoned me. You want to know about the Netflix password? Does your new not have Netflix? Sir, are you okay? You wildin'. By the way, guys, I say nigga now. So, if you don't like it, bye. I don't have no more white people in my household to censor myself for. You understand what I'm saying?
This is a clear admission that white men, when they dating black women, they get treated well, versus black men who date black women get all the attitude, up in your face treatment, the vomit, get vomited on, disrespected. This is a clear example of this, and I don't like to discuss race, but she clearly said she treated her white husband, her ex-white husband, differently.
Why's that, Brazil Yeesh, and how are black men treated abroad by foreign women, in your opinion?
To me, like I wrote in my book, I said weaponization oversimplifies the intricacies of human psyche, neglecting the fact that certain behaviors through exhibiting narcissistic tendencies may originate from an array of psychological, social, or environmental factors. And this is what we have here. This is exactly what we have here. We have that occurrence right here, what she's displaying. So they're quick to call men narcissists in the United States. And everybody,
yes,
notice that all of the women use that. There's maladaptive.
They take it out of yes, sir.
Yeah, there's all these different like variations to what narcissism means, and there's implications to what narcissism. They specifically go into what it means. They willy-nilly dump that on everybody, but we see they display that the most. We see that in the United States of America, but again, they're absolved of everything. They haven't absolved of shame, not only shame, but narcissistic tendencies, narcissistic traits,
yes, sir.
And all of
yes, sir. I totally agree. Yeah. Definitely narcissistic tendencies, man. And a lot of times the one calling you a narcissist, they're really the narcissist because they're trying to gaslight you and control you because you don't feed that narcissistic supply. And so when you don't feed that supply, they have what's called a narcissistic injury / rage. And so they all take it out of context. They say men are controlling, not understanding Brazil yeesh, their healthy control is normal. I asked a woman one time, Brazil yeesh, I said, can control be mutually inclusive? And this woman said, no. I said, well, does your job control you? And she said, no, but they do control you. They don't control you with draconian control, but they do control you. But for some reason, anytime black men try to set limits for their families, these simple women say it's control. And that's why I tell black men that are single, never been married, I say it is not wise for them to deal with the typical American woman. What's your take on that?
Yeah, exactly, and I totally agree. And this is why they do. I heard a guy say this in trying to rag on the passport bros and guys going overseas. He said, "Yeah, the mostly socially awkward people are men," and I'm like, "Where did you get that from?" I said, "Where did you draw that conclusion?" I said, "The most socially awkward are women." He said, "Well, why is that?" I said, "Because women never had to be social because men did everything." He said, "Oh, I didn't realize." I said, "Men got to be the entertainer. You got to make me laugh." Where did they get that terminology from? Mm-hmm. You got to make me smile. You got to make me happy. Mm-hmm. You got to make. So that means men are more social. They got to be more socially inept than women. Women get to get away with it, and it's hidden because dudes do everything. So it shows more. I said, so think about the two notions. I said, you presented this as if men are socially awkward. I said, no, that's because we're harder on men than we are on women. We don't notice it because men got to stick their nose out. They got to go up to a woman on the first date. They got to go and do crazy dance moves or something like that. They have to perform for women. So while women sit back and just do what? They just and be entertained. And I said, that's the sickness in society that we have now. So I said, for us, if we look at it in a broad spectrum and we look at what happens overseas to what happens here, I said the women in other countries, you know what they do? Since you put in work and since they know you as men and what you're capable of and they know your level, they perform for you. They try to vie your affection. They don't want you to perform for them. In a way, this is the only time I've seen equality. This is the only time I've seen equality in its true essence. Overseas. Mm-hmm.
Overseas, right.
Overseas, because women want you to do as much as them as they do as much for you when it comes to interest. Mm-hmm. When it comes to interest, and you don't really have to do that much.
Right.
You as a man don't have to do what I'm explaining.
Right.
When they mean 50%, they mean you acknowledge what they're doing, and just by giving a kiss on the cheek. Mm-hmm. That's acknowledgement. They'll do 30,000 different things if you just give them a kiss on the cheek. Mm-hmm. But over here, that show of equality, that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough. Because in time, they seen, again, they live through their fantasies as young girls. So they'll see the princess, what she deserves. They'll see what this person deserves. And they'll say, never, and they carry that to adulthood. They carry, that's why they see women have this, how do you say, kosherclinician? They have this stoppage in growth.
Right. Arrested development.
Arrested development.
Yes.
And it slipped my mind, but arrested development. They have this arrested development, and nobody acknowledges that arrested development. They say, well, they have arrested development, then they go into something else. I don't do that. I harp on what they're lacking, what they want you to feel for them, and what they scold you for them and they're lacking. They don't have enough money. They say, well, you got to have this certain amount of money. They don't have enough emotional control. They say, well, you have to outdo them in emotional control. Overseas, it doesn't happen like that. Women in the United States get away with that in the United States of America because you guys still allowing them to perpetrate this. You're allowing this to fester. And this is the problem.
Yeah, shout out to my man Renfree00 for the $2 super sticker. He says CPTSD and some codependency will explain a lot. And so I don't know what that acronym is.
I don't know what that means.
CPTSD. Yeah, shout out to my man Renfree00. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir, for your kind nation. We're going to finish getting into it. This woman is definitely going through a scheme affliction where he see his her ex-husband on the beach getting some caipirinhas With them fine women.
Hilarious.
Yeah, man. Yeah. She definitely having a scheme affliction, and it's happening to her so bad. Brazil Yeesh. She's singing that song by Luther Vandross. Dance with my father again.
To dance with my father again.
She want to dance with her father again, man, because she said, Dad, why didn't you tell me that masculine men don't tolerate BS? and men need to start setting boundaries and limits, because the same women that call them controlling, they're really controlling them indirectly with their manipulative, maladaptive behaviors. They never see things through the lens of male suffering. It's always about them. And I'm going to say this and take it to another level. Only a godly spiritual woman and a woman that's been taught to be accountable and self-aware can really love a man. Most modern women, Brazil Yeesh, they don't want accountability.
Shut up, kosher. Shut up. Shut up, kosher. Take it back. Shut up. Shut up, kosher. Shut up.
Yeah, they don't want accountability, Brazil, man, and that's what this woman was saying. And once again, she's singing that song by Teddy Pendergrass. The whole world is laughing at me.
Can you guys look at this? This is my eBay account. I barely use it. I just logged in today. Look at my watch list. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pairs of women's volleyball shoes in size 11. I wear 8.5. Bitch, you using my eBay account to shop for your monster foot, bitch. Are you okay, sir? Are you okay? Like, are you actually okay? You guys, look. I cannot believe I married such like a heartless, mean-spirited guy. You know what I mean? And this is no shade to any of my tonettes who wear size 11. You are not a monster foot, bitch. But his bitch, that's a monster foot, bitch. Needless to say, I need to sit down and reset all my passwords. I've already done the major stuff, like, you know, banks and emails and stuff, but there's little things I forget about, such as eBay, which I rarely use, and like Netflix and stuff like that. Like, this guy's just out of his mind. And cars. Fucking Mustangs. Essentially, I started documenting my journey July 2nd of...
And you know, they never evolved, man. This woman appears to never have taken accountability, Brazil Yeesh, for why this man left. She always want to document her journey. And you're right, brother. She is going to go through chronic, well, I would say acute post-traumatic stress disorder. But they always want to document their journey. But somehow in documenting their journey, they never self-reflect and say what role I play in the de-evolution of my relationship. What's your take on that, Brazil?
Yeah, she particularly didn't take accountability, and many of them don't. Many of them don't. They point the finger. See, let me just deter real quick. And the reason why I like Brazilian women, because not only are they emotional, but they know how to show their emotions. They know how to display their emotions, and they know how to express their sentiments with and actually make them appealing. Number two, Brazilian women have family values. Foreign women, for the most part, have family values. A lot of them are quite worried about what their family thinks. They're interested in what their family thinks about you. Loyalty and commitment, they have that. You see what I'm saying? So you'll be locked into a lot of these foreign women, and they have the loyalty. If you go outside of the tourist area, let me just say that. Let me make that clear, right? And they're passionate about their environments. That's what cultivated, and that's what made them who they are. That's what made them. These women only do stuff for the gram. They do stuff for YouTube. They do stuff for the gram. They do stuff for TikTok now. Now it's do it for the talk. You see what I'm saying? Do it for the talk. So that's their only concern. Right there, that's their only concern. In this digital age, people that are engulfed with something is wrong with them. And the moment I see that, the moment they, let me take pictures of you, let me take this, let me do this, so I can show Facebook, so I can show people. And remember, kosherclinician, years ago, when the internet first, I don't know if you were busy in your studies, because I know you are very highly engulfed in your studies. But I don't know if you remember when MySpace and all these things came around.
Yeah,
Black
I do.
Planet.
Yes,
Black,
sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Black Planet and all of these. When women used to do that, the first thing men used to do, men are visual, right? The first thing men were, man, that's part of women nature. They were saying this back in Black Planet days. And I was looking at them like they were crazy. I said, yo, you know how crazy this is going to get when they want to show their relationship? I was warning guys, and I was a youngin' then. I was like, yo, this is going to get crazy. You guys know this is going to destroy women. All they're going to do is want to use you as a display, like a dog.
Right.
Usually, like I said, this is what they're going to, and there's a clinical term for it. I don't know it, but there's a clinical term for it where they're going to use you as a showpiece. And I said, it's not going to be about the relationship. It's going to be about the showpiece. And you know what happens with showpieces? Showpieces get old.
Right,
and they get old
right.
very quickly.
Yes,
and
sir.
you are going to get old. You and her relationship are going to get old. And this is what you don't see in this. Women overseas will grow old with you. You're going to be her showpiece for a lifetime.
For a lifetime,
in a
right.
westernized country, you'll be her showpiece for about 5 or 10 years at the most. 10 years at the most. And then she'll drop you like a bad habit.
Well, it's called a narcissistic supply, but also they see men as an accessory. And I tell men over and over again, man, you can never love her more than you love yourself. But sadly, some of these men love their women more than they love themselves. Hence, they become saboteurs of their own ignorance. And that's why men have to love themselves more than they love their women. I always tell them, Brazil Yeesh, it's not wrong with loving your woman, love her. But you can never love her more than you love yourself. And that's what some don't get. You have to love within reason, Brazil Yeesh. You love within reason, but you don't love her more than you love yourself. But sadly, many Brazil, they don't get that.
2019, that was the day that my then husband got on a plane and left. He abandoned the marriage, the relationship, and left. Now, I will say that prior to that happening, I had found out that he had been having an affair. And when I found out about the...
But you know, she don't talk about what she did, not justifying what Brad did. But is it fair to say that she drove him away based on her hubris, based on talking about or more or less seeing him as an accessory that you talked about? Because see, what women don't understand, what women value their careers and they debase their men to make them seem like they're less than. A man gonna go and try to find that feminine, what I call affection deprivation from somewhere else. What's your take on that?
Of course. Yeah, of course, I don't even need to comment on that. You could just start playing the video. You said it all. But in my opinion, again, men are going to seek out what they, first of all, RIP to him. But all of these clips keep popping up on TikTok still to this day. And the one thing Kevin Samuels kept saying, men want what? Youth, beauty, and cooperation. He just kept saying that every stream. That's what men want. She was letting herself go. If you look at her earlier videos, bro, she was a lot much smaller. She was a lot smaller. No children. Here's the crazy part about it. No children. She was a letting her. Now look at her with youth comes fertility. So that's actually in the youth. But again, you legal young women, we got to say that because this is the internet. They twist our words every single time. But she let herself go. And I know he fell out, like her looks and everything. He was looking at her, and when they first met, she let a lot of that go. And that's part of it. Men want to they want to look at something that they into. They want to look at something. Now, if they established something for years, but she might have added on to it personality-wise. She might have added to it personality-wise. So just think about that, yo. So if she added to that, for pushing him away with not only her personality, because you got to see the way she used to treat him in the vehicle. She used to tell him doing the wrong thing. She used to tell him very abrasive in her own manner, trying to hide her. she's trying to hide her hostile nature. Because as you see, let's make the correlation, let's make the connection. You guys said, yes, how do you know that? It's from what she said. She said now she can use her N-word now, as what we mentioned earlier. And the thing that she said, she can be herself now.
Right.
She could be herself now. So she wasn't herself for all of those years. Right. But it came out in spots. And he knew that she wasn't herself. But if he said, well, those women in Brazil, they're going to tell you how it is, T.I. is. But they're going to do it in a respectful way. And they're going to be feminine with it. They're going to be light with it. They're going to be dainty with it. And they're still going to let you know how they feel. He went to go experience that versus her hiding who she is. He knew that wasn't her. He knew that wasn't her. He said, well, let me not get a carbon copy of what I want. Let me go get the actual thing. And that's where you understand. He believed in dating diversity. I call it dating diversity measure. He believed in the dating diversity measure, which means he picked a woman of color. Let's use that term, the political term. He picked a woman of color, but it wasn't the woman of color that he wanted.
She got branditis.
Yeah, I was obviously devastated and angry and, you know, just the full range of emotion that comes with that. And they stayed with us. We had a great time, etc. So everything was going smoothly, or at least that's what he was presenting to me. Fast forward to July 2nd, 2019. You know, it was a regular morning. I got up, had started to get some work done. He made me, I think I made a cup of tea and went down into my workspace. He made me lunch and he left the house. And that was the last time I ever saw my then husband again. He actually completely abandoned the relationship. He not only left the city, he left the country, he left the continent, got on a plane and left. No forwarding address, no, you know, new phone number, no nothing. He just left. So as you can imagine, it was like being hit with a truck. Like I was completely, the rug was pulled out from under me, which was where I had the separation agreement sent to. But that failed. So that address was no longer associated with him or his family. So I did end up contacting him. Now, I didn't have a forwarding address, obviously, or a forwarding phone number. When he initially left the country, he was still using my business phone, my Uber accounts. He was still using all my business accounts, which shortly thereafter I canceled. So
she sounded like a career woman. She sounded like a modern day career woman. Brazil yeesh. You know how to compliment Brad. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like she emasculated him.
Yeah, she did. She did. I pay all the bills. She used to say that to him in the car.
Right.
In her video, she used to say, I pay the bills and stuff like that. And you could see his face. You could see that he was bothered by it. You could see his pupils. His pupils really pulsated around that time. And but he held his composure because he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was eventually going to do to her.
Right. Yeah, he was going to Canaan. Brad said, I'm going to Canaan like you Negroes did in the Underground Railroad. He was trying to run to Canaan from the oppressor. And this time it was a black woman, man. And they just don't get it, man. They don't understand that what men want in relationship is totally different than what women want. And that's why men go to find that feminine oscillator that makes them feel good about themselves. But it's sad that this woman don't get it. Hold tight.
The only information I had for him was an email address. So I emailed him asking him where he wanted the divorce papers sent. And he received it, but did not respond. So at that point, I have you guys being here for me through this journey. Your girl is officially divorced, okay? Divorcee Tony, if you will.
And she think that's funny, but it's really a failure. It's a lack of her ability to keep a man. What these women don't understand, Brazil, you can have 5 to 100 men in your DM. That's not a flex, boo. What's a flex is when you can get a man to love you, die for you, protect you, and y'all grow old together. But so many of these chicks got guys in their DMs. Social media have made average women think they're gods, goddesses. They got so many men in their DMs. Many have been ran through by these guys. And this woman probably gonna end up by herself or with another simp because masculine men are not gonna pull up with her BS. And they just don't understand male psychology, man, which is appalling. What's your take on that?
Exactly. She since then she gained about 40, 50 pounds.
Are you serious? Oh my goodness! Come on, Brazil.
Yeah. So she's done. She's done. The only thing that come along is a simp who loves. And we also. This is why I'm sorry to say, but I hate the fact that men who look like you and I, they share the same color, whether lighter or darker, are known as the garbage disposal of the dating community.
Right.
And it means we'll take anything, any trash, anything that we want to chop up and all that.
Yes, sir.
And
right,
I don't
right,
like
right.
that. I don't like that about us.
I totally agree.
And this is why I'm taking a stand. This is why you got to be, in my view, 145 pounds or less. Mm-hmm. That's just for me. Because think about this, kosher clinician, all your audience. Think about this. Mm-hmm. When you look at any form of anything, the women, particularly, we could take the anglerfish. The anglerfish, the big brawly anglerfish, the female is 65% larger than the male. Mm-hmm. The female is known to be atrocious looking, right? Heavy on the eyes, literally. So if you look at that, and you look at that, anything that's known to be bigger and larger than its counterparts are known to be the aggressors, are known to be the not dainty, not feminine, not anything. Those guys knew when they come around, it's possibly death. Mm-hmm. It's possibly unaliving. Mm-hmm. Unaliving. So for me, that in my view, now that's me. Most guys got 150, 160 pounds. I think that 140 pounds or less, especially depending on her height, is viable in my book, because anything that is slimmer, anything that is, look at how for instance our counterparts as far as men, mm-hmm. look at how they look at their women. They get the slimmer the women are, the more dainty they are, just period. And just looking at how they did things. And I look at hey, I know this is gonna be highly racial. And I know people are gonna clip this and say, what did you just talk about? Go look at what they look at. Look at the smaller the woman are, the more dainty, the more again feminine, the more we look at the women that we desire are more brolic, brutish, and let's just call it what it is, the bigger that they get. Not to say that all of the larger women are like that. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm saying if you look at it from an overall perspective, we looked at as dating beast. And look.
You said beast.
Wait, no.
Hold on.
Girl, yes. Okay now, baby. Okay. Girl, yes. Okay now, baby.
Beast can't hear that. They're going to be saying, girl, yes. The beast can't hear that, but go ahead, dog.
No, because look at the Moniques of the world. They're more aggressive.
Right.
They're more beastly. And that's what they looked at. Even the white women that are larger, they are sassy. They mimic what they see in these country hick towns, or they mimic what they see in the ghetto. This is what happens. The more larger they are, the more aggressive they are. Look at Angela, the white lady from Georgia that was dating the Nigerian black guy. Mm-hmm. Just look at it, bro. Mm-hmm. Look at how she was acting. She's larger. She's large and in charge. Mm-hmm. Notice this is their terms. This is not my terms. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at it from an overall perspective. So guys think it's just one group of women, one color. No, all women that are larger. Mm-hmm. All women they looked at more aggressive, more manly, more masculine. They look at it as you gotta get told and all of that type of stuff.
Right.
And this is what men are getting away from. Now, here's the difference overseas. Hold on. Let me clear this up. You say, well, if Brazilian women are more, I told you earlier, environment matters. So they might be more thicker well, I can't even use that word. They might be more, can't use curvy. They might be more more poundage, more poundage added.
The poundage.
I would say poundage. They might have more pounds added in Brazil, but notice the environment shapes. In the United States, the large and in charge means that you got to take control. Overseas, the large doesn't necessarily mean in charge. It doesn't necessarily mean in charge. So environment matters, because if those women get out of pocket, though there are women that are way more, those women will get got just like anybody else over in different countries. And I say get got, I mean the men will react and put them in their proverbial place overseas, because they think they're larger and they think they could take on a man. They wouldn't dare do that overseas. Here, the green light has been given to them to take control. Why? Because most of the women have been known who are larger societies who have taken care of families that were larger. The women were more so larger in weight. So when they went into taking care, they were maids and all of that. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look at what happened with him. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby by the woman that took care of his household, and she wasn't a slim girl at the time. She had a little thickness on her. But again, Arnold Schwarzenegger took a liking to that. So this is what I'm saying. They're known to have that manly energy. Yeah, like D said. I just turned on the chat, like D said. So shout out to all of those guys that get this. So they're known. So for you guys to combat that, you guys got to start going to smaller women. I'm sorry, you guys got to start going to smaller women. You got to put it in your mind how they work. Again, how America tells them. The larger they are, the more brute they are. And this is sad the way America built them. But I, on the other hand, don't want a woman, even overseas, over 145 pounds. And depending on height, she might look a little bit thicker. So you say, yes, you said you don't want a woman of, well, she's 5'2". So her 145 is going to be different from a woman. I'm 6'7". So I'm a different height in a guy. So we got to start making these separations. We got to start going after different styles of women if you date in the United States of America. And I talk about this. Years ago, I wrote a dating book for the United States of America that's profound. Everybody give me props on that except this manosphere. But it's called my dating book. What is it? A Man's Decree. Tips for men in the dating game. That's a book for the United States of America. The guys that still date in the United States of America is called A Man's Decree. Tips for men in the dating game. If you want to operate like me and venture off and eventually get off of American women, you'll read that book and eventually you'll be overseas with us.
Yeah, that's
because
powerful.
they're not going to take their masculine nature. They're going to look at him and say, oh, I don't like this type of guy. Because now he's going to assert himself without trying to assert himself. Now he's going to pay attention to cues without having to pay. And I discuss how women with glasses are just as potent as a woman without glasses. How there's certain tan lines and frown lines depends on how the woman, how evil and vindictive she is. I break that down in the book. You got to go off these, and you got to go off these aesthetics. You got to go off these phenotypes. You got to go off all of this stuff to determine how a woman is. Her lines, her smile lines, her eyebrows, her labial lines, in her face, and her chin, and all of those type of. You have to pay attention to those cues. And I'll break it down in the book. How when you see a woman, if she's a party woman, if she's a mean woman, I break that all down in the book. It's called A Man's Decree, Tips for Men in the Dating Game.
But see, what you're talking about, in my opinion, it actually affirms some of the things that the manosphere talking about. I won't have a problem with that kind of book. But if you're talking about dealing with these chicks here, like game and all that goofy stuff, I don't believe in that. Not for these American women, I don't. But when it comes down to like something that's gonna add, sounds like your book adds value to a man and gives the man power and teaches him how to maintain
and remove everything that he would give a United States of America woman. That's exactly what my book does.
Right. Hold tight.
Kind of sums it up. It's not really juicy, it's not as juicy as maybe some of y'all thought it was going to be, but really COVID delayed the process, but he dragged the process on. And I'm just happy that's over with. He owes me thousands of dollars. Like I said, he was still using my phone for international calls and Ubers and Uber Eats and, you know, lawyer fee, all that. He owes me thousands of dollars. But I'm gonna take the L on that because I literally am no longer associated with him. And I want nothing to do with him ever again.
Well, she lied to herself. Teddy Pendergrass said you can't hide from yourself. And I think that book that you're talking about, Brazil, will be excellent. Your book should be an adjacent. Remember, Brazil, there are men, it's like this space is like it's hybridized. It's like some are all encompassing, some embrace certain parts, you know, but that book will be a good add-on to what men are trying to do here in America, man. Actually, here's the book, the Brazil Yeesh list of non-children books. Yeah, and that's a book that can be a compliment because once again, man, this space is not a uniform space. It's not uniform,
and that's what I don't want people to think because they think I rock with people that's in the manosphere, particularly the black manospheres. But I'm not even gonna lie, kosherclinician. I don't watch a lot of it because I believe in solutions, and to me, they just sit around and just a lot of times, some guys have solutions. Like Black Ram, he has solutions, but you say he's not part of it.
No, he's not.
You have solutions. You have solutions. Who else have solutions that are part of the manosphere? Like Average Man Unplugged. He just started traveling. He's part of the manosphere, but he has solutions. Guys like that is what I want to hear with solution based. I'm tired of guys. It's hard for me to listen to it because they invite women on their panels. I don't want to hear women talk. I heard them talk for the last 40 years.
I respect that. I respect that.
I respect I respect the content creators who got solutions, and anybody can mention somebody who has solutions. But I'll listen to them, listen to them.
Yeah. BGS, Dr. T.S.on Johnson.
Of course, BGS does. Of course, MOT does. Man of Tomorrow, I rock with him.
Yeah, Dr. Ronald Neal, Dennis Sperling, he talks about world travel all the time. Uncle D. What people don't understand, Brazil, is like a lot of times when you hear men talking, I equate it to men being on a conveyor belt. You and I have heard the message, but there are men that have never heard the message. You got young men coming in. So it's almost like men that have left, you say, okay, I went through my stuff, I went on. But some of the content sounds regurgitated and it's necessary because they're in a therapeutic office, some come in, they leave and move on, but there's still people coming in. So if you stop talking about the message, then how would the men that never heard the message ever understand what we're talking about? So why am I saying sound regurgitated to some degree? In some context, it's necessary, but I always, like I said, I strive to have solutions. So I'm an adjacent to the space. I love supporting men of the space. I'm more of an ancillary, but I do support the good men like Obsidian, yourself, and other men. But I think, believe it or not, you don't realize it, but your work actually complements this space because once again, this space is not static. It's fluid, man. It's very fluid. Your work actually complements it.
But a lot of those guys don't, like, I come around and they say act as if they got all the answers. So it's hard to communicate with people who have all the answers.
I agree with that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's hard to communicate. You go on somebody's show and they got all the answers. They Googled everything. They know everything. But by the time you bring something to them. So it's hard for the younger guys. This is why the younger guys are gravitating more to the passport bros than the manosphere. And this is why they're coming on our side. You see guys 18, 22, 25. You see guys 23. Those are young guys. So you see all of these young guys coming around and rather be passport bros than sit in the manosphere and say the same thing. And yo, what about this country? What about this country? What about this country? And that's growing with the passport movement. So the reason why I'm saying that is because they come around, they hear these guys talk, and when the young guys say something, they're like, yo, we already been there. We already did that. We already talked about it. Even they do that in the manosphere. So you saying it's regurgitated, but they push the younger guys away versus us. I'm telling you what I do. When I hear a younger guy, he'll start talking, yo, man, I'm tired of these women. I say, bro, first thing I'm doing, how can you get your passport?
Right.
I'm doing a regurgitation like you saying, but I'm showing the solution. Then they say, yo, what about the women? Yo, go get this book. I wrote 3 books on dating in overseas.
Oh man,
that's good. That's practical stuff. That's good. That's all solution based. And I concur with that. I concur with everything you're saying.
When I go to the dudes in the younger space on the manosphere, they push me away. Nah, man, my favorite content creator said this. My favorite content creator, and I'm like,
but Brazil, let me say this once again. Remember, the manosphere is not static; it's fluid. You might be in some spaces where they talk about that, but I would say, by and large, a lot of men embrace what you're saying. The men that I called out, they embrace it. So keep in mind, it's not a fixed situation. It's
I've never
fluid.
seen them before. I've never heard these guys that you mentioned. They never come around. I've never seen them. Nobody has never mentioned these guys rocking with the passport movement, because it would have been got to me by now. So if I see it, then I'll be like, yo, let me go check them out. Because I'm not opposed to new knowledge, new information, new entertainment, or whatever. So I've just never heard of these guys. So not that I have a problem with it, but I just never heard of them.
Yeah. A lot. Listen, one of the many guys in the manosphere embrace the passport movement. A lot of the brothers I told you about, they embrace the passport movement. Some would say in conjunction with you, because I consider you a Sigma. But Black Ram, BGS, he embraced it. Dennis Sperling embraced. I embraced.
No, BGS came in my chat. That's how I recognized who he was. BGS came in my chat last year or this year. He came in my chat, let his name be known, say he rocked with me. I was like, okay, well, let me go on his channel. So he came in. MOT said he rocked with me. Yo, let me go over there and see what he shared my stuff. That's how now I rock with MOT. If you rocking with this passport movement, you gotta, and it's difficult to work with some. These guys really got to see you about this. And some of these guys saw that I really did this for years and haven't stopped. So these guys came over and said, yo, we rock with this passport movement, but we only rock with you. So that's the thing. They're saying they only rock with me. A lot of these guys say we only rock with him to a certain extent because he put in the work for this. He put context behind it, and we see that he operates. You ain't gonna find me having no babies in the United States. You ain't gonna find me trying to secretly holler at women in the United States. You ain't gonna see none of that about me. You're gonna see my message is my message, and it's clear and is upright. So if I hear them and they come around, or I go around, I say something in their chat, they know who I am. I'm like, yo, I can listen to them now. Those guys that you just mentioned, after I get off this live stream with you, I'm going to go and research them and see who they are.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of. I would say, from my experience, there are a lot. Like I said, there are some that are more set in their ways. But look at the manosphere like denominations. Some are more liberal in their pronouncements. Some are more conservative. Some are more moderate. A lot of your talking points I embrace because it's solution based and it's pliable to male empowerment. And so, I embrace everything you say, brother. I don't have no qualms with you.
Man, salute to you. Yo, when I found out about you, I said, man, this brother is powerful. And I'm listening to the Jews that you were dropping, and then you got the science behind it, the knowledge behind it. So I love you. You see how I get down. I'm no doubt. And I don't even talk, bro. If I speak like how I speak on my regular everyday, think about this. I speak like this on my everyday energy. And all its form is the manifestation presents itself as a puzzle of lavishly done. You're like, yo, but I speak like that behind the scenes. You'll hear me talking like that. And when I'm dropping gems, they'll be like, yo, yes. But you're more excited, you're more animated on these shows. I said I only do that in environments where the host is animated and the host dropping gems, and I'm energized from the host. But usually, my energy level is a lot more subdued behind the scenes, and I'm talking with more of these intellectual words and stuff like that. So if you and I were on the phone together outside of, you'll be like, oh yes, be dropping. So I drop way more gems behind the scenes than I do online. But when I heard you, I'm like, nah, bro, this dude give me that energy. He make me go there. He the truth for real.
Hold on. It's that fire for your mind. That's what it is, man.
Fire,
it's that fire
for your mind.
You know, I try to break those synapses, man, and block those neural pathways.
Oh, you make the prefrontal cortex engage.
Well, see, you're intellectual, man. You know, slow people say what I'm saying is word salad.
No, it's not.
Well, this silly heifer said it, but she's not the brightest light bulb. So of course she would say it because she's not an intellectual.
You know why she said that?
Right.
It's not that she's stupid. She just don't understand the difference between semantic ambiguity in what you speak, right? The intelligent words that you pronounce, you again expunge. She don't know what that means, because semantic ambiguity keeps you in this stasis of stupidity, which it doesn't increase your intellect, it doesn't grow your synapses, it doesn't make them fire. So what she doesn't realize, the more you listen to people like you, the more you trigger thought. The more you listen to people like her with this not mind-numbingly but now content, is when you dumb yourself down.
Dumb yourself down, right?
Yeah, when you don't have the aptitude to break down what you've been hearing. When I listen to you, it cultivates and expunges thought, right? It pushes it out. When I listen to people like her with the same arguments and the same conversation, the same, it's like, oh, this banality is beyond me. I don't want to listen to it. It doesn't trigger books. It doesn't trigger creation, new inventions. Her type of things, her type of thought process doesn't, and the way she expresses herself doesn't trigger anything. But you know what you do for people? You're going to make us think about an invention that we just think about putting it out. Right? How can we intellectualize ourselves to come up with the formulation that we presented, to come up with a conclusion, to make our again, something from our mind come into fruition in the physical. You make that happen for us. People like her don't.
Right, yeah. I love her criticism. Man, we got a good show coming up, Brazil. I know you're going back to Brazil. Safe travels back to Brazil. I will be in the shadows, man. I will be reaching out to you. Thank you. This was an awesome stream. We did it off the cusp, because I was, you know me, man. I'm the kosherclinician. So I'll be cooking kosher soup while I'm talking.
You the truth.
But I got a good brother. He's a special guest. I think I have him, and Dre coming in, man. It's gonna be dope. I got an idea how I'm gonna flex it. But you will love it, man. It's gonna be I call it a trichotomy of thought instead of a dichotomy of thought, and we're gonna have a perspective from different countries. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in, man. I love you, man, and I will be checking you out at some point. Guys, go check out Brazil Yeesh. It's been a great show, and Brazil Yeesh, be safe, brother.
Peace.
All right, be good, brother. All right, guys, we're signing off. This has been a good one. I didn't plan to be out here long, but Brazil Yeesh dropped some gems. I will be clipping this, guys. But yes, you guys have been awesome, man. And as I told you guys, there are 7 steps to male optimization. Before I go, guys, go get your tickets for the Black Manosphere Conclave. And guys, we're going to be soldiers instead of pigeons. But in the meantime, in the words of Uncle D, we're signing off.
I know that reasoning, out of respect to minorities. What the fuck? Stop! I want to get another air right now. You punching air, probably swinging around eating some bananas. Fucking stupid bitch. Preach is crying right now, swinging from a monkey branch.
And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel.
I want you to listen to what this Negro has to say.
Of a white guy who married a black woman with black children. And in this video, the white guy was clowning black men and saying, you think I can't raise black boys? I raise them better than y'all do.
This is type of woke shit that I'm talking about right here that makes white men like Nick Fuentes get on the internet and be comfortable saying nigga. This is why motherfuckers like this are dangerous. And we've let these Negroes go on too long saying whatever they want to say. All this anti-black male rhetoric is what it is. This is why motherfuckers like this are dangerous. And we've let these Negroes go on too long saying whatever they want to say. All this anti-black male rhetoric is what it is.
We got too many PhDs screaming they woke. Sleep on the land and take us off for a joke. The blacks I see, immigrants, tap dancing, nigga shit. Homie, he ain't black like me. Ancestors fought and died with no guns. You hear disrespect and speak with a forked tongue. We march for togetherness. All we really seeing is a bunch of sellout motherfuckers round here don't tell the shit. Separate better shit. We don't fuck with it, trick them celibate. Tell it to the donkey and the elephant. Here for the benefit. Damn right, talking to you immigrants. Over here acting like you innocent. In your homeland, you don't fuck with blacks. But getting handouts and money off our tax. And we ain't getting shit but some feel good talk. And young black men outlined in white chalk. Time to spark change, the kind folks see. Produced by Baz, inspired by Uncle D. Give black men a voice. The only Umars on Fridays. And trust me, our doctor ain't voice. My people rejoice. My lyrics ain't shooting and killing the black man. Make a motherfucking choice. What niggas do for money, clowning, acting fool, wearing dresses, finessing money just for a school. Tell it to these coons on a plantation, made it a celebration. Everybody to Zoom, blizzard in the room. So bundle up, trick. It's cold outside and he ain't taking no shit. This is why they hate us. Blood run deep, a generation of traitors. They wanna see us weak, you ain't a part of the family. Cold shoulder, fuck you, black men ain't shit. I'm sure the world will love you. Head down long enough, 50 plus years, you yelling that we ain't strong enough. Took them benefits and ran with it, it's Mayday. Took the kids away and now they Pookie and Ray Ray. This is where we separate.
We do not care if y'all go out of the country to find y'all a wife who is traditional.
Every day, more lies. It's cold outside, Blizzard King coming. Numbers don't lie, trick, hot girl summon. Kevin Samuels try to love you. Uma wanna cuff you. The world is getting cold, Blizzard King saying fuck 'em. It's cold outside, Blizzard King coming. Numbers don't lie, trick, hot girl summer. Kevin Samuels try to love you. Uma wanna cuff you. The world is getting cold, Blizzard King saying fuck 'em. H-Town, that's the sound that we lean trig. You ain't know it by now. It's the Blizzard King bitch. So tired of these pros. I got nicotine fits. Every day they get exposed. Kick them off the team shit. Uniform don't like it, well, they take that bitch off. Got a whole different squad that'll take that bitch off and wear it like she mean it. I know the women seen it, talking shit like it's convenient. Keep riding European, off on that plane passport, how you feel? Talking about a real man, you ain't real. Not your hair, not your eyes. You don't like your skin. BBLs, you too lazy to take your ass to the gym. So trim while I trim. You are not a 10. Umbrellas, you look slutty. Baby, you ain't thick. Your linebacker built with attitude, classless. First round pick, trick, you should have been drafted. Black men with options, know they watching. From DR to Columbia, you seeing a doctor. I'm here, she served me proper. She called me Papa. Spirit flight, wheelchair, while your ass is cocked up. Cold outside, Blizzard King coming. Numbers don't lie, trick, hot girl summon. Kevin Samuels try to love you. Uma wanna cuff you. The world is getting cold, Blizzard King saying fuck 'em. Cold outside, Blizzard King coming. Numbers don't lie, trick, hot girl summer. Kevin Samuels try to love you. Uma wanna cuff you. The world is getting cold, Blizzard King saying fuck 'em. Getting colder, ain't no love, all you getting is the shoulder.
When you black women out there desperately looking for black men, they left. They left. And it's only gonna get worse.
I'm a real bitch. I'm a real bitch. All you getting is the shoulder. Don't need no man, so you getting a little bolder. Single mama drunk, oh now you getting sober. But it's over, it's over. Colder. Ain't no love, all you getting is the shoulder. Don't need no man, so you getting a little bolder. Single mama drunk, oh now you getting sober.
You do.
But it's over. It's over.
You gonna be with Jesus. Hallelujah.
On the next flight, we do whatever we want to. Blizzard King coming, everybody favorite uncle.
You got niggas with degrees enabling these motherfuckers by perpetuating these lies and negativity about black men. Most of you black men don't have kids. You ain't even got no wife. 31% of y'all are married. 51% of you don't have kids and you're not married. That's 82% of black men who ain't did shit or are doing it the right way. It's 18% of men out there with children outside of wedlock. And of that group, they are better fathers than men of other races who are married to their women. Right. You black men are outstanding. You hear me? You are winning. Fuck what these PhD ass niggas are saying.
All right, we're signing off, guys, and guys, stay away from them pigeons. Be well.
Flies eat poop. Get over it. Okay? That's for you.
Yeah. Shut up, kosher. Yeah. Shut up. Whoa. Shut up, kosher.
Ballin'.
Take it back.
Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin'. Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for mine. I got 9, couldn't wait in line. Game time.
Shut up, kosher. Shut up. Shut up, kosher. Take it back.
And I go beast like 23, 10 toes down, glued to the concrete. And I do me, keep to myself to find my peace. Been ballin' a little bit, woke up feeling rich. Still remember days I had to grind to get a cent. Still remember days when I spent a penny pinch. Now this bank account is lit and it's up and it's stuck, just like Cardi said. Same faces around me and it's hardly friends. Saying how you do it, but you hardly did. Fibbing on the ground, yeah, you probably is. Ballin' like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin' like it's game time.
Shut up, kosher. Shut up. Shut up, kosher. Take it back.
I got 9, couldn't wait in line. Game time. Game time. Locked in when it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Pull up from the logo like it's game time. Same zone, so won't catch me on the same time. Time is money, so I cannot give away time.
Shut up, kosher. Shut up. Shut up, kosher. Take it back.
But they don't really know still. See the glow up and I can't believe the glow still. Me plus me, that's a whole lot of money. Wake up in the morning, I can smell the bag coming. 3 whole years and these records keep running. Don't talk to me if you can't match the numbers. Ballin' like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin' like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for mine. I got 9, couldn't wait in line. Game time, game time. Locked in when it's game time.
Shut up, kosher. Shut up. Shut up, kosher. Take it back.
Yeah, so I really
produced by Baz, inspired by Uncle D. Give black men a voice. The only Umars on Friday. And trust me, our doctor ain't voice. My people rejoice. My lyrics ain't shooting and killing the black man. Make a motherfucking choice. What niggas do for money, clown and act a fool. Wearing dresses, finessing money just for a school. Tell it to these coons on a plantation. Made it a celebration. Everybody to Zoom. Blizzard in the room, so bundle up, trick. It's cold outside and he ain't taking no shit. This is why they hate us. Blood run deep, a generation of traitors. They wanna see us weak, you ain't a part of the family. Cold shoulder, fuck you, black men ain't shit. I'm sure the world will love you. Head down long enough, 50 plus years, you yelling that we ain't strong enough. Took them benefits and ran with it, it's Mayday. Took the kids away and now they Pookie and Ray Ray. This is where we separate.
Word, feel me? We gotta keep our black women safe. Why you got spray paint on what's the name?
Like, you keep this shit moving, bro. We don't play like that, bro.
Okay, bro. I don't give a fuck, bro. We don't play like that.
About, my nigga? Like, look at your van, my nigga. This is some weird shit. Don't come parking around this shit, my nigga.
Word, there's some other shit. What the fuck?
What's the name of the blog?
I don't know.
Bro, get the fuck out of here, my nigga. Real shit, bro. And keep it going fast, bro.
Yo, that's some crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Get it understood, cause real black men wish a motherfucker would. So buck if you want to. On the next flight, we do whatever we want to. Blizzard King coming, everybody favorite uncle.
You got niggas with degrees enabling these motherfuckers by perpetuating these lies and negativity about black men. Most of you black men don't have kids. You ain't even got no wife. 31% of y'all are married. 51% of you don't have kids, and you're not married. That's 82% of black men who ain't did shit or are doing it the right way. It's 18% of men out there with children outside of wedlock. And of that group, they are better fathers than men of other races who are married to their women. Right. You black men are outstanding. You hear me? You are winning. Fuck what these PhD ass niggas are saying. You are winning. You are doing a great fucking job, especially considering what you had to do and deal with historically. Especially that. Nobody's saying that. These lying motherfuckers, man.
Dennis Sperling. This person has been negatively targeting black women negatively on social media. And it seems as though ever since Kevin Samuels died, he's been trying to, I don't know if he wants to be the next Kevin Samuels, if he wants to be the next person who's famous for disparaging black women and for making someone try to feel a certain way, particularly black women.
First they had Weight Watchers, now you got hate watchers. Let's get it. This is for my lovely young ladies like I hate. Blizzard King, Dennis Sperling. First let's get the record straight. I say it online, I can say it to your face. Not a bully, I'm just mean, know what I mean, no debate. It's time to put some motherfucking knowledge on your plate. Excuse me if I'm vulgar, but a king ain't sweet like cake. Holding court, live in court, ladies, you just need a taste of what we been through. Judge will set you up for grape. And I ain't talking Numa, I would not put on a cape. I do not confuse shit, we all got a face. Reality, you woofing on your men like you an ape. My job is protecting black men up in the space, and also putting rude bitches back up in their place. Cross-examination, I look good to the race. Man, be a man, nigga, say it with your chest. Cause soft-spoken men, these lovely ladies don't respect. I can care less, I do not do this for checks. I do this for my sons and the black men I invest. It's time to get what I was, ladies, gotta pay your debt. You're working with the same men who put it round our necks. You're not my sister, not my kind, you a threat. When the weather change, I hope you bitches feel dead. Let this be reminders to the ones who disrespect. We are God's chosen men. When you say Jesus, you mean us.
The only Jesus I know is him, and the one thing he don't need is a partner.
Shut the fuss, we discuss with your fuckery. Past 100 years, you ain't loving me. Who was on the front line fighting? Yeah, fuck is me. Building all them black towns? Yeah, fuck is me. Kicking rides off Michael Brown? Yeah, fuck is me. Now you wanna put us underground? Not to fuck with me. Change your plans, baby, you can be replaced. Let freedom ring. No sunny white days, Martin Luther King. Single mama program chip for the simp queen. Mother goddess only gon' destroy us. It's the Blizzard King. Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. Hate watch on the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. Hate watch on the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. It's the Blizzard King. Hate watch on the Blizzard King.
Say that's the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy.
This be
for you. Choose wisely.